Good evening, everyone. This is Denise, and you are with Global Voice 2012. Today is Wednesday, July 11th, and you are here for the Drake Midweek Update. Welcome, Drake.
Thank you.
And I know that was a little bit long, that introductory song, but I wanted to share that with everyone. There's a new movie that was put out with Charlie Daniels as narration, and it's called, obviously, Behold a Pale Horse, and I would like to recommend it to everyone. Anyway, okay, so today is our midweek update, just a few little items of business I want to take care of. If you will help us when you are listening to the program rebroadcast in the archives on Blog Talk, if you'll click on the ad that plays when you play back the archive and then simply hit the back button, we will get pennies for your clicks on the advertisement. That helps us out with the cost of running the radio station, et cetera, for the month. And also, we have had to ask for donations for help with the domain and the chat rooms and the hosting, website hosting, etc. That is available. There is a tab on our globalvoice2012.us page. At the top of the page, there's a donate button, and we would like to thank the people who have donated to this point. You are helping us tremendously to continue to bring this broadcast and keep the websites going for you. So I would also like to thank our assistants again. In the chat room, we have Cool Joe Bro and Di herself. Thank you for your moderation and help in the chat room. Also, thank you very much to Lori Arloff, who is now doing news and transcribing our radio programs. She'll be transcribing this program for us tonight. And, of course, the usual suspects, Paul Thompson, who was historian extraordinaire and my co-creator and help right arm, and Terry Ombach, who is research and development and administration. And once again, welcome, Drake, and thank you all for being with us this evening.
Well, thank you. I guess I could just mess things up first. Does anybody know if Lady Dragon's on here?
Lady Dragon is on. Do you want me to open up her mic?
Well, yes. I'd also like to have Terry opened.
Okay. Let me open up.
I'm gonna do something that normally I don't do. I'm gonna take a break right at first, but I want everybody to really pay attention to this because this is Dynamite news. Now, I found out about it a few days ago, and Terry found out about it, and she went crazy just like the other person that found it. And Terry would like to introduce a little fun and games dealing with the Vatican and the UK and the Queen and the big Pharma. And Terry, are you there?
We're trying to get her on here. It's going to be just a second.
Enter on the butt.
Yeah, I just can't find her on the board.
Oh.
Yeah, she just got home and dialed in and wasn't quite prepared. Didn't know you were going to go to her this quick.
Oh, well, she got to be on top of the whatever because it's, around here it's quick. You never know what's going to happen next.
Terry, raise your hand.
Yeah, raise your hand, Terry. All right.
Yeah, they have a system where you raise your hand twice so you know that it's somebody special.
Okay, we have Terry with us.
Good.
Hey, they found me.
Yay.
Hi, Drake. Hi, Lady Dragon, Paul, Denise, everybody.
Louise in there somewhere.
Hello.
Hi. Well, I think everybody saw a quick kind of a flash-by news story that happened a few days ago, actually back on July 4th, with a lawsuit that was brought out in Canada that was being filed against the Crown, against Big Pharma, against it's against a lot of people. A lot of really heavy information came out on this in an interview that Alfred Weber did yesterday, and I have really been pushing this story lately for everybody to take a look at this interview because it's a wealth of information. I think it's something that we all need to really pay attention to. I think it's really critical information about what's going on, and I think that we need to have this information go really viral because apparently there have been a lot of people that have been silenced over this story, and I think their best protection, like we all feel, is if you block the story wide open. You know, the best way to do this is exposure, and I think they need a lot of exposure with what's coming out on this. And we have invited Alfred Weber to do a 1-hour show with us tomorrow to touch on some of these points, to make us understand a little more about the interview that he did yesterday, because it was a pretty powerful interview. And that's kind of what I have to say about it. Okay, on you, Lady Dragon?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I mean, that's really kind of what I had to say about this, about the news. You know more of the details. I just want our listeners to understand that this is very important information, and I think it's very important that we really pay attention to this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Terry. Actually, the founder of this is Jason Bowman. I'm in contact with him. Actually, I just spoke with him just before the show. He gave me the latest news. Drake, dear, I emailed you my article. You can give it to everybody in your subscription.
Okay.
And give it to Terry. Terry, you can go to my site, ladydragon.com. You'll see it right now. Jason founded the Association of Citizen Prosecutors, and he has filed this suit against the Vatican, and like Terry said, the Crown, and the big Pharma. Basically, for people that are not expert in law, is they killed the Indians here, and they're going and they have proof, and they're going after them. And he's getting all sort of problem from people trying to interfere with his word and everything. But the word of what he's doing is getting out faster than people can stop it. And absolutely concur and agree a million miles a second with Terry that we need to inform everybody that people are taking action. And this is what I always talk about. That's how people to take action. And Mr. Bowman is doing action, which he needs to be commenting about this. And I assure him that I will do everything in my power to everybody to know about it. Already my article has been picked up by Google, so everybody that's going to type his name or anything of that sort has to do with this will be able to get information on him, because Terry is right. They don't want this to go out. They don't want the people to know about this. And nobody is reporting this in Canada. Well, hell, nobody, is reporting anything that we're doing except me, So journalists, people, you need to get up and start being a real journalist instead of being slaves to everybody, he's going back to court, and actually he has the backing of judges, of people. This is going to be massive. And I'm on top of the story, and I'm in contact with him. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, and as news comes out, I'll be the first to know, so I'll be able to inform you all about this. The comment I heard that he was saying that when he went to court, some people say, well, everybody's trying to sue the Queen and the Vatican, and it never works. Yeah, well, I think this time they are for a big surprise, trust me.
I think also that, well, like I said, I mean, they're keeping this in the absolute top news, and getting this information out is going to allow this thing to be kept in the forefront, and not let this, like the Lord Blackheath incident happened with, $16 trillion missing. They were handed this information, all the evidence, and nothing was done with it. And that's the frustration of, that everybody's getting to. And, I'd just like to shove a plea out there to everybody You know, I mean, we've got the White Hats out there. We've got WikiLeaks out there. We've got other people out there that are holding on to this evidence and this information, and now is not the time to sit on it anymore. It's time to release it. Let this stuff out. Let everything out that they have and get it out there. Flood the internet with it. You know, I mean, that's the best way to do this. You know, the time to quit holding on to this stuff and letting people get picked off one by one is over. It's time to let it out.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's why I said that I'm on top of this story, and I said to him, I said, well, trust me, the word's going to get out with me, because I talk about to a lot of people, and I'm known worldwide, and everybody that picks up my article, and things will go forward. Plus, I will get first-hand information from him as updates come, Terry, so they won't be able to put this under the lid forever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's what I had to say. I mean, really anything else on the news front that I had is kind of the same story. It's the banking stuff, you know, coming out of LIBOR, you know, the LIBOR scandal and its little spider web that it's got. But it's kind of the same old story with that. We see all this story coming out, and we're blasting it all over the place, and I'm beginning to kind of think it's a little smoke screen to get off of these other stories that are actually more explosive. And so I think myself, I'm going to start backing off of the LIBOR information and just keep the top information on that coming out. But I'm going to start going down a little different rabbit holes now. My instinct is telling me to back off of that and to start letting some of these other stories come out more, that they're more important and they're not being exposed enough. So that's kind of the direction that I'm heading in now. And hopefully I can take it somewhere. We can all work together on this and see what rabbit holes we go down and what ones we come out of. And that's it for me. So Drake and Lady Dragon, everybody else, you have at it. I'm going to go take care of the chat room.
Thank you, Terry.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Terry.
I know for a fact that there's a whole lot of things that people don't want out, and there's a whole lot of information and documentation that is in possession of people who are a part of the freedom efforts. Lady Dragon had a couple people on her website that wants to just go shoot people. I hate to tell y'all, but that ain't the way to go. Not yet. And I'll explain that a little bit later. Now, Lady Dragon, you said you had more news?
Yeah, I have something very interesting that came out concerning Monsanto. Monsanto is trying to pass a bill called Monsanto Rider. That's going to be in, hold on a second, I'm going to tell you exactly where the thing, it's a bill that's going to be, well, they always do stuff of that sort, you know. They want to say, oh, we're going to pass a good bill, and inside they all put something to hurt all of us, you know. It's just, always they do stuff of that sort, you know. But this is very serious because, you know, how we love what the Monsanto do with all the GMO stuff. Well, now with this bill, they'll be able to plant their seed, even though if they're not allowed. They're going to be able to counteract what even if somebody has said no, you cannot plant here. It's going to allow, it's called a Monsanto Rider, would force the Secretary of Agriculture to grant a temporary permit for the planting of or cultivation of a genetic engineered crop, even if a federal judge has first ordered an environmental impact statement to say no. So they're trying to have a bill that's saying whatever the law said is not important. We'll make a bill second-day the law. You know what I'm saying, Drake? That's awful.
Yes, it is. Do you happen to have the number of the bill?
Well, not now in my end, but I can certainly put my people on it and get back to you on this, dear.
I definitely would like that. There's a lot of things going on, and it's hard for just a few people, such as us, to keep up with it all. Denise, are you handy?
I am, Drake. I was actually looking up the to see if I could find the bill number for the moment.
Okay. Well, I sent you that email, a link to The Nation magazine, that article on TPP.
Yes, NAFTA.
Yeah. Now, you posted that. Did you also put it in the subscriber blog?
I did.
Good, thank you. I wanted to be sure that that got out to everybody. What people don't understand is this. There's a thing that everybody's familiar with. It's called the shot heard around the world. And this comes from a radio show I was on last night by request. And that shot heard around the world is interesting. And the reason it's interesting is because the person who pulled the trigger didn't really pull the trigger. And I'll explain that. It's very simple. When you get to a certain point, you don't have any choice. When you are confronting someone with arms and they give you no option, it's actually that person who pulls the trigger that you put the pressure on. It's called letting someone else pull the trigger. That is a form of psychology, but it's also a form of reality. And the reality starts with a thing called the law of the sea. George Bush, God bless his evil soul, told everybody no, there was no way, that was not passing, that the law of the sea was horse hockey, it was not in the best interest of this country. Well, it's come up again now that George Mr. Bush ain't in there to step on it. And it can be found, I've got the link to it, at http://research/20www.research/reports//2004//I'm glad I'm done with the forward slashes. The-law-of-the-sea-treaty. I'm going to post that just as a link. What it does is it basically restricts a combination of maritime rights, legal rights, whether you got a contract for undersea mining or drilling or whatever. It limits the legal limitation of boundary. Everybody has a certain amount of the ocean that they claim next to their shore. It changes that, among other things. It disallows some of the presently used commercial enterprises that use the sea, to include fishing, drilling, mining, etc. And it restricts it in such a manner that it is not, as I say, as good old Mr. Bush said, it ain't in the best interest, that's horse hockey. Now that's the light duty one. Then we got something else here. Now that in and of itself ought to make the industrialists and rich people that are invested in that area mad. At least I hope it makes them invest in some Tums. We're going to go to the next one. And the next one is called the United Nations Small Arms Treaty. Now, people probably haven't read that, and I can understand why. I went to great lengths today and read the whole friggin' thing. And good Lord, what a mess. First of all, no semi-automatic weapons. If it's got a clip, you got to give it up to the government. there is both national, local, national, and international. Now, I want you to bear that in mind. You're going to register your guns with the United Nations, according to this thing. And so I decided to dig. And I found out that this stuff started back in '52, that the UN Disarmament Committee, or Commission, was formed in '78. This stuff has been in the works for a while. These are these little, I'm going to change a little of this. I'm going to move that over here. I'm going to make this look like this here. Kind of maneuvering that these people like to do. The UN Office for Disarmament Affairs, that's come get your guns. Phone number 212-963-4587. The fax, same number, except the last 4 is 8892. Email, rdb-unoda@un.org. Call them up, send them emails, fax them till they die. Now, I just mentioned something about somebody else pulling your trigger. And this is that shot that was heard around the world during the Revolutionary War that was started by the actions of the enemy. They gave us no choice, and the trigger got pulled. I'm going to offer something here, and I've been pretty upset about this ever since I heard about it closely. I didn't know a lot of the particulars. When I read this thing, come to find out they can take anything. You're allowed to have a 6-gun, that's it. If you're a good boy, if it's registered on all this other happy stuff. And then anybody uses a shotgun for hunting, guess where it's going? Guess who's collecting it? The vote is supposed to be taken on July 27th for ratification. In other words, our agreement to this small arms, United Nations small arms treaty. The United Nations is a foreign entity. It's also, in my considered opinion, if you look at its website, you'll find Agenda 21 there. You'll find communist manifestos there. It is not a cool deal. I don't care how you slice it up and present it, it's going to stink. Now, everybody needs to call their representatives. Yeah, and I've heard the story. They don't want to hear it. Oh, they didn't know about that. Yeah, right. Well, if they don't want to hear it, I will publicly at this time express to them what they're doing. The vote that you're taking either makes you guilty of treason. That's right. You're playing games with the Constitution without a constitutional convention, and that is a big no-no, and you all know that. Or you're signing your own death sentence. Now, I'm going to qualify this, and there's been a lot of people like them guys that wanted to go shoot somebody. I'm going to tell you to hold your fire. I'm going to suggest that anybody who doesn't understand what this means, it's the Second Amendment right to bear arms. This is what it deals with. They're looking at taking our rights away. That's the United Nations. They couldn't get it done otherwise. They tried a bunch of stuff and nobody would even talk about it. People got ballistic. People threw things. I mean, it really got nasty. Here in our country, they wouldn't put up with that. Well, recently, a whole load of websites got shut down because they were complaining about the government telling the churches that they had to sell condoms and birth control and all this other happy stuff that goes against their basic religious beliefs. Now, personally, that's a personal decision for the individual. I don't care what the church is, but we got a First Amendment called freedom of speech. I may disagree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. You can call me whatever kind of a mother or whatever you might want to, and I will probably not like it, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it because it is one of our basic constitutional rights. Now, they already took some of that, and they've been taking it. Now, they're after number 2. What's next? Your right to breathe? People, y'all need to wake up. This is serious. They are getting down to the nitty-gritty. They're getting nasty. Now, I thought this was bad enough, but there's something else, too, and I'll get to that in a minute. This thing right here offers a choice. And I mean, you need to call the Pentagon, DOD, you need to call everybody and their mother-in-law in the government that you can get a number for and object strenuously. Call them a treasonous bastard or whatever you feel like you got to do. I don't personally like this at all, but if they want an armed uprising in terms of a revolution, the vote on the 27th will tell us which way they want to go. Either we are a constitutional republic with the stipulated rights to include the freedom of speech and to include the right to bear arms if you want to. And there's a bunch of other nice little rights in there. Women's right to vote. I mean, you know, what is it they might want to take next? You don't know what it might be. They might declare prohibition and outlaw all alcohol again just because they think they can do anything they want. Guess what? I've been dealing with a whole bunch of militias and armed groups, and there are a bunch of them that have been itchy. They have been on edge, and they have been uptight, and they've been cleaning their weapons and loading their guns and practicing. And you're going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000, $3 million, $10 million, who knows? And here's the thing. They're not stupid enough to storm Washington, D.C. They're going to wait till you go home, and then they're going to come take you out of the house. What they do with you, I don't know. But I guarantee that's what's coming. I've already been told by several people who run militias. I've already been told by several people with large armed groups of experienced people that that's exactly what they would do at the point martial law, or you're coming to get our guns, or whatever other kind of stupidity our representatives come out with. And I hope the military is listening. I heard they were kind of sitting back, wanting to see what the reaction would be. Well, I just made sure that my guns was clean and the clips is loaded and I'm ready. They come to get mine, there's going to be a fight. That's all there is to it. Now, I'm not going to go out hunting, but there's a whole bunch of people out there I know will go out hunting. And unless you got an armed fortress with a load of guards, you know, that can handle 15, 20, 30 maybe professionals, I would suggest that you vote against this, that you tell them to screw off. This is the United States of America, not the United States of the UN. There's a difference there. Now, that pretty much turned all my milk into it curdled it. It made little lumps out of it. It ruined it. I just about lost it. Cottage cheese is okay in some ways, but when your blood gets lumpy, it don't help you at all. And right now, I got little roto-rooters running through me, and I'm sweating. And all I'm doing is sitting here talking. This makes me so blistering mad I can't hardly stand it. You send us off to war, you bring us, then you say, oh, you did a good job. If you come back in one piece, you're lucky. You come back with things, with mental disabilities because war is a trauma. And then you say, oh, you had a personality problem long before this, so we ain't giving you a squat. See ya. They tell paraplegics they got to buy their own prosthesis, even though the VA says that they're supposed to supply it. I mean, geez. One guy got a bill for his equipment. He got blown up, and they medevaced him out of there. Now, how is an unconscious, wounded soldier supposed to make sure that he's got his extra pair of socks and whatnot? Give me a break. That went all over the internet. We got that took care of. They apologized. Well, apology not acceptable. You just don't do some things. Now, there's a little goodie that's running under the covers, and this is something that's posted on my website, AmericanNationalMilitia.com. It's called TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership. It is a corporate partnership, and it's, as it states, NAFTA, North American Free Trade Association, or amendment, or however that reads, on steroids. They take, in this particular thing, all of the rights that anyone has, to include sovereignty, and they put it under corporate dictatorship. This corporate dictatorship then can levy fines for things that didn't even happen yet. You interfered with our business. We were going to make X amount of money. So now you get to pay us 3 times that. Arbitrary, set at any level. It can be an individual that pays it. It can be a country. It can be a locality. Doesn't matter. And like I said, this posted on my website and it went out to everybody. That is being done by corporations. And here you got this Monsanto rider bill where they can do anything they want. Well, I thought the NWO was pretty much done deal. I thought they were pretty much dead in the water. Well, Trans-Pacific Partnership crawled out from under a rock wearing their insignia. And now you got Monsanto doing the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what it takes to get people to jump up and down and scream. I don't know what it takes to do what's called a knock-knock, as it was called in the Hitman times. The knock-knock is a bullet through a window. That's all it is. You make sure you don't hurt nobody. You pick an empty room. But you make sure you don't have a silencer. They can definitely hear it. They're out there barbecuing and blow away a beer can. There's a variety of things that can be done. And it's just one of them. It's called a knock-knock. But this Trans-Pacific Partnership enlists the countries of the Pacific Rim. Ours, theirs, Canada, Mexico, the whole thing. Over in the East, Japan, and all these other countries. It enlists all these people. And the idea is that because government and the people cannot handle the finances, then they should be in charge. This is the they, specifically, who are paying for our rulership now. And this is the bribes and the payoffs and all that happy stuff that goes to our representatives when they approve certain laws and bills. I'm sure that Monsanto is paying for that bill. I would almost guarantee it. It might be hard to prove right away. A few of them have slipped out, though. And people are not getting it. Now, this thing with the Vatican, the UK, the Queen, and Big Pharma running in Canada needs to happen here. And whomever is in the military who's listening right now, make the public arrest. Make it quickly. Take one of the people that's a principal in the TPP. Pick one that's playing games with the Small Arms Treaty. Pick some dink that thinks they float for the law of the sea. Make 3 arrests. Come on, show us. Show us that you're for real. You've been saying you are, and I know a bunch of things you've done that I can't talk about, and I can't talk about who, and that's well and good, and I applaud your efforts. And you got a cheering section that's huge saying, go, 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 you know, make it to the end zone. We want to see a touchdown. It needs to happen and needs to happen soon. And I'm going to tell you what the breakoff date is. They're going to vote July 27th to ratify or not in terms of the Small Arms Treaty. I'll make the suggestion, and I'm going to be quite honest about it. These people are not going to sit down anymore. The people I'm talking about are nasty. This is the kind of person who lives in a cave in the woods and don't like nobody. Bears and mountain lions, leave them alone. That sort of people. So, you know, it's a case where you're rousing up the bow and play your fiddle hard, because hell's broke loose in Georgia and the devil's dealing the cards. Now, battlefield ain't nice. And when you got a bunch of experienced people doing experienced things, and those things are concentrated against a small group of individuals, and what is there, maybe 600 people involved? Do you really think that 250,000 people can't go snatch those people? Do you think they might decorate a park somewhere with them like they did in Germany? I mean, people are ready to do that. This is where this is at. I don't like the idea, but when they come here to get my guns, if that's what is to happen, they're going to have a firefight. And I'm going to give them the best I got. When I'm done with that, I'm going to go hunting. And I know where some people live. Normally, I'm the voice of reason. And the voice of reason is saying July 27th is your Waterloo date. If you do not want to get wiped out in terms of being inconsequential, where you don't mean nothing, then don't take no action. Let the people do it for themselves, and the military becomes irrelevant, just like in that letter I sent. Exactly. If you won't do the job, then you're irrelevant, and I don't think you are. I think you're more than that, and I'm just waiting to see it. I hope and pray it don't come to the fun and games I'm looking at, but I do not see any alternatives. If that happens, the other side, the enemy, is pulling the trigger for us, and that's a big difference. Denise, we got a song we can play? I need to calm down.
We do, Drake. We will take a 7-minute break. How's that?
Thank you.
Everyone get a beverage, take a break, make a potty stop, okay? Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone has gotten refreshments and we're ready to roll. Lady Dragon and Drake, you are with us.
Thank you.
And I just love that song. I just have to say that it hits home at this point in time.
Yeah. There's a calm. Everybody knows it. Just before a storm, everything goes dead quiet, dead calm. No breeze, no movement, no noise, no nothing. And it's the same way on a battlefield. You get a dead calm just before things start happening. All of a sudden, all the bugs, all the birds, and everything gets still. I got a cold sweat going on, quite honestly. Apparently we're going to get hit or slammed as much as possible from just about every direction things can come from. That Trans-Pacific Partnership is supposed to be secret. The website, or a link to it, is tpp2012.com. Read about it. You ain't going to believe what it says in there. You think the Small Arms Treaty is bad? This thing is unbelievable. Totally unbelievable. I've heard some rumors that some of the financial things are supposed to be taken care of in short order. That's good news. About the only good news I got right this minute. You were about to say something?
No.
Yeah.
Lady Dragon might have. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Drake, I just wanted to expand a little bit about, please, what you said about the gun treaty that's supposed to be passed. You said the date 27. People, have you looked at your calendar? Where is 27? It's on a Friday. You know, they really like to do stuff like this. They probably pass this at 10 to 5 in the afternoon when all the journalists are gone home. They usually do that type of technique, you know, pass awful stuff at the last minute of the week because they know it's not going to be reported until Monday, and then Monday, weekend, people are talking about sports and things that are absolutely none of importance. Hey, Drake, have you noticed that too as well, dear?
Yes, I did. That's sort of like what Obama did in terms of his supposed appointments that were illegal while people were on holiday. That was another good example of this.
I want to say something else too, please, Drake. Okay, and people need to understand the ramification that can happen after that. For people that are not too knowledgeable about what can happen, I'll tell you, okay? I have a few things to say about this, okay? I've been studying this for years, okay? And I will tell you this much. You look at China, okay? I discussed this at length with Drake, and Drake knows about what I'm going to say. Look what's going on with China. You know, they started to say, well, guns are illegal. They removed the guns. After that, they removed the sword. After that, they removed the knife. After that, they removed the fork. After that, they removed the spoon. And they had the gall to say, eating rice with 2 sticks is tradition? What the hell? Have you tried to eat rice with 2 sticks? Have you tried to eat rice with spoon? Which one is better? You know, you need to know to be a rocket scientist to understand that it's much better than a spoon and with this 2 stupid stick. You know, and this is what they want to bring everywhere. And well, I always said...
There's history goes with this, too. Hitler did it, and then he was able to do anything he wanted to. Stalin did it. He was able to do anything he wanted to. China also did the same thing. The numbers go like this. You're going to love this. Hitler got about 15 million on his little plan. Stalin did a little better. He got 30 to 50 million people. Okay? Shish kebab on the bayonet or kablooey, you're gone. China did better than that. They got almost 300 million dead. You ain't going to find graves. You ain't going to find remains. Most of the time when these things happened, they would also have what's called a book burning or a furniture burning. Guess where the bodies went? Cremated. Everybody getting this? I mean, we got a choice, and that's to either have a future, something that's real, something that's tangible, something where our kids can breathe some fresh air, something where we become the shining light of freedom once again to the world. And believe me, every country on the planet's watching what's going on here, real close. There's only 2 places, United States and Yemen, where bearing of arms is a right and not a privilege. And think about that. They changed all the other ones. They used to be rights. Now they're privileges. They're looking at taking away even the privilege. And then you got corporations. They had a thing called ALEC, where corporate lawyers and financial interest lawyers got together and provided already drawn up, finished copies of legislation to be presented so that they could have their way in terms of financial freedom. In the process, screwing all of us, of course, They're trying to lay all the debt on the individual, us. We didn't create that debt. The government gave it away. Well, guess who owes it? The corporate government owes it, not us. ALEC was just a symptom. Now, a lot of people have abandoned it now that the membership and a few other things came out about it and what it was really doing. Now we got them using the UN. Monsanto decided, well, we got corporate lawyers, draw up a bill, we'll put it in there, and we can do anything we want. You get corporations with billions and trillions of dollars. We have decided that sovereignty is passé. It no longer counts. It no longer means anything. And that includes the people it applies to. That means that you and I are, well, let's see here. Our birth certificates starts us out with $3.5 billion in equity. That's bundled and securitized. Your birth certificate is. People don't believe all this happy stuff till they really start finding out about it. Your property, slaves are owned. I can only personally stand so much of somebody saying, you can't do nothing. Sit down, shut up, and all that. They told us to shut up. That's what the taking down of the websites that the church has had up, who were simply honestly disagreeing with the idea that government had the audacity to interfere with religious freedom. Oh my. Is that a right that somebody's trying to take away from us? Maybe it's, practice the religion the state tells you to? Ooh, you better think about that. You'd be doing, be on your knees going, waving your arms at Obama or somebody when they pass by? Come on now. In the simplest terms, you don't own anything. You don't own your property. You're renting it. You basically are a sharecropper. And the Lord, our government, owns it. And all these things that I'm talking about got to change. It has to change. I would love to be able to do some of the things that change requires. I personally would just, I'd get my rocks off being able to say, take that treaty and stick it where the sun don't shine. No, that law is bogus. It says that it don't like the Constitution, so it goes. And, I forgot. And look at all these people. They say they represent us, and then they turn around and screw us. And what do they do it for? Money, position, power, influence. I'm the mucky muck. I ride in a limo. Oh, boy. And it never stops. These people are not going to quit until they are fully and absolutely defeated. Yeah, they tried to negotiate a peace deal. And when they got told no, they turned around and started doing all this stuff. Some of them, that Trans-Pacific Partnership, has been in the works for a while. That gun deal with the UN has been going along since '52. Well, what happened back in the 50s? That was when the military decided to start to concoct their plan because they found out that the United Nations was a communist organization setting about their ruination. They wanted to see all our troops get killed on the battlefield. Same thing they wanted to do in Vietnam. When I left Vietnam, of course, I got to go visit a hospital boat, but after the Tet Offensive of 1968, we had them whipped. We could have won that. We could have maintained South Vietnam as a free country. Mr. Henry Kissinger, he gave it away. He was the chief negotiator. We won't mind if it's a communist country. How about we just leave? And that's almost a quote. These things are all in the records. There's a lot of people that need to be snatched. There's a lot of people that need to go visit a FEMA camp, swat mosquitoes for a living. Put up with Big Bubba or somebody. So what I'm saying is this. Yeah, get ready. Get absolutely ready. Be ready for war. And you might tell everybody that you can who will listen, be it a fax, email, phone call. Hey, dude, guess what? You vote for that gun bill, you're signing treason and maybe a death warrant, because my neighbors are talking about coming and get you at your house. And hang up the phone. Think about having phone calls like that come in. As I said, the military's kind of watching this real close. Everybody out there, you've heard of the pot and pan brigade, and I'm going to suggest that you start ringing it loud, because if we don't make a lot of noise, they're not going to hear anything, and they're going to think it's okay to do what they want again. And that's what I'm dead set against. I think I'd like to open this up for questions if people have some.
Can I just finish something, Drake, before we can go to question, please?
Sure can. Go for it.
Okay, continue my stuff about the guns. Most of the people that listening to us are in the United States. Of course, we have people all around the world that are listening to us right now and on replay, which is fantastic. But I want to give a special message to my American friends, okay? I will tell you, you know, you are very, very fortunate, okay? You still have the right to have guns, okay? People, I always say to everybody that I knew, I've been saying that for over 15 years, that if there's somebody who's going to help us, it's going to be my American friends. I always said that. And people complain, oh, American this, American that. But I said, never mind the complaining. You need to start to talk to the Americans, and because they're the only ones that have guns, and you're the only ones that will be able to help us. And this is why they did 9/11. They wanted to remove the guns from you. And then this is why they put Obama. They wanted to remove the guns from you. Before Obama was elected, I said, way before he was elected, it's going to be worse than Bush. My father says, how can it be worse than Bush? I said, Dad, it's going to be worse than Bush because everybody thinks he's going to save them, but he's there to enslave them. You know, that's even worse. You know, and I will tell you this much, okay? For people that say, oh, guns are not good, okay? I will tell you a step, okay? And this is facts, okay? And then you can research this on your own. I'm a journalist. What?
I'm trying.
Okay, and listen to me, people. I'm a journalist of international reputation, meaning I'm invited everywhere. And when I mean everywhere is VIP, okay? I've been to the Playboy Mansion. I interview people like Playboy Maymay, Paris Hilton. I will tell you something about guns. It's for you. I've never seen a celebrity or somebody powerful without security guards with guns. When you think I sat down and talked with Paris Hilton? She has guards bigger than no stacker of football with guns, and anybody do one wrong move, one look from her, one signal, and you're dead on arrival. Okay? Same thing with Playboy Playmates. You go to the Playboy Mansion, believe you me, they have armed guns there. Anybody's causing trouble, come after the Playmates, you'll be shot on sight. You know what I'm saying? Madonna, you think Madonna is walking around with her children have no security with guns? Come on, people. You know, they always say everybody can have guns. The only people cannot have guns is two people, the poor people or the people that can kill actually the bad people. So trust me in what I'm saying.
Lady,
yes?
Lady, yeah, slow down, take a breath, because people are having a hard time understanding you.
Well, sorry, I get a little bit upset when I see all this happening.
We understand.
My suggestion is that we open it up to questions. I got one little statement about this. There's been a lot of people in England, United Kingdom, and various countries there who sent me emails warning me to get the word out, don't give up your guns. The break-ins in England used to be simple burglaries and things of that nature, similar to what we have here. When the guns were gone, the break-ins, while people were home, by armed bad guys, went up 90% in the first 30 days. It has been steadily increasing ever since. You've heard of people being taken at gunpoint to the bank, that sort of thing. Well, they go through and they'll keep somebody at the house and then take you to the bank. Go get your money. We want it. And they take the money, take you, go back to the house, sit you down. They might torture you or do other odd things to you at their pleasure. They got the gun. You either get shot right away or put up with a beating or whatever. And that's basically life in the United Kingdom. And other places have had the same problems. So I'm going to tell you, forget it. I'm not giving mine up, and I suggest everybody also go the same route. So, questions?
Yeah, Drake. I just you were asking for some good news, and while we were on the while you were on the air here, the House just voted 244 to 158, I think it was, or 180 something, to repeal Obamacare.
That's all well and good until it gets to the Senate.
Well, it's a start.
I understand.
Denise had a question for you.
Okay, well, not so much a question as kind of sort of a comment. Drake, what does this mean that, and what have your sources said about, is the military not going to make any moves, and did the process that was completed in February, was that unsuccessful, or is that still being taken into consideration?
Well, there's a lot that goes into that. They accepted the paperwork, said we got a gold star for what we did, that it gave them the civilian authority necessary to take their actions. Then they hem and hawed about it, and then they found out that they had a lot of problems in terms of command. I understand there's been a bunch of combination of fights, arrests, things of this nature within the military, and the contest is not totally over yet. They are still having some problems, but the thing that the part that flipped my flapjacks was where they said they wanted to see what kind of reaction they would get from this, and that's that gun control from the UN.
Is that the cavalry coming, when they said the cavalry was coming and they're coming with guns?
Well, my suggestion is that they best be coming for the bad guys. There's not that many people in the military, if need be. It'd be a bloody war. You can expect about 80 to 90% casualties on each side, and that's something nobody wants. I don't think that'd be, I mean, why waste those people? Why screw up the system when you can take it apart and put it back together the right way? Why sit back and see what kind of reaction you get? My suggestion is everybody that's listening and anybody who reads what I got, call them up and raise hell. Tell them that that they're tired of the sitting on the pot stuff. Do something or get out of the way. And to be quite frank about it, the military can become irrelevant real quick in a situation like this. And my hope is that one of the chains of communications has gotten to one of the listeners who would like to ask a question.
Yes. Before we get started, Drake,
that would be almost perfect.
Okay. Can we repeat the numbers, the number to call and the fax? Can you repeat that for our listeners? You have it handy?
Absolutely. I have to walk back upstairs, but I'll get there.
Okay.
Hold on a second.
Well, okay. In the meantime, Paul, do we have questions from the chat room for Lady Dragon?
Actually, I have I have one question. I have one question for Lady Dragon, and some people are curious about, do you know Robert Menard, and what do you think about him?
Robert Menard, how much, no, who is he? Maybe I know, I don't know, who is he?
He's a Canadian, and he's, for about the last 10 years, doing the free man on the land and exposing the fraud in the laws and the assumptions of the difference between a person and a human being.
Oh yeah, I heard about it, but I don't know him personally.
Okay.
I don't know him personally. I don't.
Okay, I'm here.
Well, it was a question.
Oh, okay, Drake. Okay, Drake has. Okay, go ahead, Drake.
Okay, United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs, 212-963-4587. The last four for the fax, same number, 8892. Email address, these are small letters, rdb-unoda@un.org. Okay. And they need to
get on the phone, fax, and email.
Yeah. Well, they decided they wanted to play, so I really looked at them hard. Some of this is totally unbelievable. I can't believe after ALEC, I can believe the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I can see that as being next. They wanted to keep this secret, and now it's exposed, and I would like everybody and their mother-in-law to jump on anybody that they can figure out has something to do with this. It does have a website. It's called tpp2012.com. And it do come right up, and there's a whole bunch of info in there. The article that was posted on my website comes from The Nation magazine. And they're also the ones that put out a thing called ALEC Exposed. And, people dismiss magazines. Between The Nation and Mother Jones, you can find out just about anything, to be honest with you. Both of these magazines have some financial problems in terms of sending people all over the world to collect information. It ain't cheap to run somebody 20 hours a day, 7 days a week for a couple of weeks to get things done internationally. It definitely ain't cheap. So if somebody would consider either subscribing or donating, those people definitely are a big help, as you can see by the article that's on my website. Can we go to questions?
Sure, Drake. Paul, do you got some, or should I take a caller?
Well, yeah, I'd like to. I got one here. I'm trying to formulate all the questions we're getting into one cohesive one so we can minimize it. But before the green light you gave, there's been other talk of something going to happen in October by several people, and as a green light scenario, or when the economy is going to crash. So, are we looking at that date now, or that period? For things to really start happening?
My suggestion is that they were looking at the situation might go all the way past the elections. If, and I say if, that's a big if it makes it that far, my understanding is that there would be appointments of individuals to run the government at that point. meaning that the military would definitely take their actions. October was supposed to be the October surprise month. That was when the attempt on Obama's life was supposed to take place. That was when the false flag attacks were supposed to take place. Now, the false flag attacks cannot take place. They found them all. They've been dismembered and removed. Did somebody just have a problem on the phone?
Sounded like Paul might.
Somebody sounded like was a dog sniffing the phone or something. Anyway, so you also had a couple of other things that were going to be tried in between now and then. Those things have mysteriously evaporated and gone away. So most of what was planned, October surprise, and that sort of thing, from what I can understand, there's no way they can take place. Now, the July 27th date is set as far as I'm concerned. What do we got? What is this? This is the 11th. So 16 days, a couple of weeks. I've been saying a couple of weeks for a long time. I'm getting tired of saying that. Everybody seems to think that everybody is dead in the water and done. I was thinking that the NWO, New World Order, the takeover of the world, that we subjugated them pretty good when we got a hold of that G20 document about the global constitution and all that. Apparently this TPP has been being worked on for a while. And the North American Free Trade Agreement, Ross Perot said, when that passes, they're in a great sucking sound. And that sucking sound is going to be jobs. And he was absolutely right. Now, I don't give him a lot of credit one way or the other as being the brightest light bulb in the world. He's wealthy. I'll give him that. And I think he has a good, solid idea as to what it takes to make things work. And he probably would have been a good president. I don't know. According to the political policy and policies that I read about the man, he probably would have been a hell of a lot better than Bush or any of the others we've had lately, to include Clinton, et cetera. Anyway, that's just my considered opinion. Other questions?
That's fine. Yeah. Can you explain to us why Keenan hasn't refiled yet, or if that's does it matter anymore, or is there something else going on?
No, it matters. It's going to be filed, hopefully before the 27th. If that happens, then nobody gets paid, to include the UN, and that will break their bank. They rely on us for funds. We've been staying in the red with them and paying them what it takes to pay the light bill and leaving the rest of it alone. There's enough professional thieves at the statehood level to float a battleship. So funding is not, I want you to think about this. Where does the UN get the funds it takes to do what they do when everybody is running in the red, including them, according to their financial statements? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I'm going to meld.
I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead while you gather some questions there from the chat, Paul, and I'll take a couple callers? I guess that would be a yes. Okay, our first caller is JJ from Kansas City. And callers, I do ask that you limit it to one question, and I will let you know that once your question has been answered, I will disconnect the call. If you want to continue listening on the phone, you'll have to call back in without raising your hand. I appreciate it. Thank you, and go ahead.
Do me a favor.
Yes.
Don't disconnect them too quickly so that I can be sure I hear the question.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
I just want, once the question is all answered. Okay,
All right.
JJ, go ahead. You're live with Drake. JJ, are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we do.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very well. Listen, I apologize. I'm a first-time caller, and my question, or where I'm new to all this, I got involved with R a year and a half ago, and it's been an eye-opening experience beyond my imagination. First came aboard, I felt like I was listening to one chat room where, you know, I got introduced that 9/11 was an inside job and, you know, the dark cabal. At first I was thinking, this guy must be out of his mind. He's crazy or something's wrong with him. Now, a year and a half later, you know, it's what's wrong with me. I was out of touch, if you will. And I applaud you, Drake, for all your hard work and that all your people do. I've been listening to you for the last 30 days or so, and I'm honored and privileged to be here and speak on your platform. I'm a third-generation Hispanic here in Kansas City. I want to touch on one thing. You get attacked from various people about how you speak freely about our president, and I want to congratulate you on the hard work you do. I'm upset about something, and I want to ask a favor, if you will, in some way if you can bring light to the fact that I understand that they're upset with a border, an American getting killed on the border with all those guns going into Mexico. However, what about the other crime of all those innocent people in Mexico that are being murdered in the thousands and thousands? I don't hear a lot of conversation about that criminal act, and I think it's very important that be brought out. And I applaud what you do, and I know you're under attack a lot of times, but I sure do support you, and I hope that that problem does get resolved. My question for you today is there any way that we can get a log of the people and the people that have been arrested? And the reason I ask for that is that when I go to other people and try to share this information with them, they look at me like I'm crazy. So if I had some social proof in my hands to prove that Donald Trump and George Soros were, you know, written up in a federal court for a RICO Act, I would love to be able to show this to people, social proof, so that I could, I mean, if there was a total ledger of all the people of the arrest around the globe and here in the United States and et cetera, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Basically what it is this. The manner in which somebody uses tactics to take apart a system or an opponent generally remains secretive, just like on a football field. You don't want the other team to know what you're doing, kind of thing. I've been privileged to know some of the names, know some of the positions, and in that way gain a much greater understanding as to what is really going on. In every organization, you got gophers. They go for this and go for that. In crime syndicates, they call them bagmen. And some of the bagmen ain't there anymore. If you want a list, what you should do is go to the Build-A-Burger invitation to the first meeting and compare the names of those who showed up and those who are absent. That will give you a comprehensive short list. And that's about as far as I'm allowed to go with that information. So
Very well.
if you want a short list of people who have been adjudicated or arrested, there's a combination. They are both here as well as Canada and all over Europe. Right now, I believe the total is running in the thousands.
Wow. So then it's fair to assume then that we're winning this war, if you will.
I certainly hope so. I'm just pissed about these things that they're trying to pull. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you very much,
sir.
JJ.
God bless you.
Thank you, JJ. Okay. Paul, did you have another question from the chat, or go to the next caller?
Yeah, because this is something that everybody still wants to know. Okay, Drake, what is your intel from the Pentagon telling you, or is it being done? Because if the military is about to make a move or an arrest, then why are we worried about this gun treaty?
Well, one of the reasons that the Pentagon wants to sit back and watch is that he who votes for treason gets charged with it. That's one of the things that people might not be catching on to. Worrying about the gun treaty, well, the military is limited in some ways as to what actions they can take. Some of the stuff is going to have to be done indirectly with a military backing. That's where you get the federal marshals, local law enforcement, that sort of stuff that I've been talking about. As far as the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the executives and lawyers who are and have been working on this and putting it together do need to be absconded with. And I would suggest that would be one place to start. There are several people that have been doing things that everybody accepts because theft is acceptable to some people. JPMorgan Chase's big loss was to cover the light bill and their expenses. It went right back into the pockets of some people, and to some extent, and paid the bills. There was no loss. It was just an outright theft that was covered for very well. Diamond, in my opinion, not only knew about it, but I'm going to suggest that there may be documentation somewhere that shows that he actually was responsible for it. Some people might want to start digging, maybe get an office memo or a recording of a phone call or something of that nature and blow something wide open. Worrying about things, the military's going to take action, well, they better hurry up. When you come off with you're going to take our guns, when you come off with they're going to take your rights on the TPP, the law of the sea tells all the oil rigs they got to move. What they're trying to do is do a combination of both: break the bank and make it regulatorily impossible to make a profit of any kind. They want to see us all out of work so that we got to come to them for food, so that we are dependent, so that we are easily controlled, and that's basically the gist of it.
Okay, so would it be safe to say then, we keep hearing that there's going to be the green light and 4th of July and another 2 weeks and this. Are they pulling out all the stops on the, is the cabal pulling out all the stops to try to get something done before their time is up, and so the military is kind of making an adjustment here to see, what they're going to do so they can take a proper action?
Very probably. That's what I would be doing. I can understand them wanting to wait on the gun treaty. Law of the sea should be handled by our Navy. It should be negated. The Trans-Pacific Partnership should be stopped by arresting the corporate people that are responsible for putting it together, because it in and of itself is supposedly a treaty, but it's actually a corporate agreement where the corporations actually gain full and absolute control. If you are a rich person, that would be perfect. That's the golden age for them. Now, I'm going to suggest that there are some problems with a lot of this. Number one, in case anybody hadn't noticed, the Dow's been slowly dropping off. That doesn't look good. The euro is at $1.22. That's 2-3 cents below the $1.25, which makes it iffy at that point. So it's below iffy. It drops below $1.20, and I would say hold on to your bippy and get ready for some impacts here. If Mr. Keenan has things together well enough, quick enough, we should see action on the central banking system, among others, before the July 27th ratification vote. So there's a lot of things all together coming together at the same time. They're trying their best now, and you got to remember, how do you enforce when you don't got nobody and can't pay them? They're offering bogus certificates against the collateral accounts, and that's just to pay the bills. So it's all fraudulent. The filing by Mr. Keenan should be such that everything comes unglued in terms of the central banking system. And when that goes, then the federal government or corporate government also goes. That is their financial backbone. So, you know, pick one.
Well, then that brings up about 3 questions I've got here. If the Keenan lawsuit goes through before the 27th, you know, would that be the financial green light? And people want to know about their monetized birth certificates, what will happen with that, the CAFR accounts, and everything else.
Oh, boy. Okay. If you've got a fraudulent account that doesn't exist, that's manufactured and made up, it never existed in the first place. So that means that the federal operational procedures, taxes, this and that, regulations and all that, poof. The basic accounts of all things dealing with any monetary value, and I'm talking strictly monetary, all go back to the collateral accounts. In terms of borrowing, et cetera, they need to now pay that money back, and the problem is they don't got the gold to pay them back. So they're pretty much screwed. You're talking about a whole lot of things coming to a screeching halt. I've heard about prosperity packages. I did a comprehensive search, and to be quite frank, I can't find any validity for it. I think those things are bogus. You may get a box full of money, and it's like some of the freedom people that have accessed their strawman account for money. When you do that, you're actually trying to tap credit against the collateral accounts, and these people do not have the legal authority to do that. Neil Keenan does, but they don't. So you got a bunch of things basically stirring the pot, so to speak. You got the things that I've mentioned, the law of the sea, the TPP, and the Small Arms Treaty, and I'm looking at these things as being sort of a propaganda routine. By sort of, I mean that, yes, the Small Arms Treaty is real, but if you don't have the means to do anything, then it doesn't matter. And then also, those who vote for it have committed treason and may well sign their own death sentence. And I've tried innumerable ways to maintain some sort of restraint and control and don't shoot somebody and all this. And yet, Lady Dragon gets a couple guys on there and wants to shoot them all now. I get emails like that all the time. It's time to blow them up. It's time to, you know, let's take their head off, see what's inside of it. I'll let them pull the trigger. if these idiots actually agree to the Small Arms Treaty, I'm going to be shocked. I'm hopeful, even though they're idiots, I'm hopeful that they're not that stupid.
Okay, so would it be safe to say, just hold on real quick, Denise, one last update here. Would it be safe to say then that the Keenan lawsuit, when it gets filed and this thing hits the fan, that would be a financial green light, or is that going to be something else?
It should be. Now, you won't know that until Terry Hinkle gives the word on the green light on that particular part of it. She is the one that is contacting that.
Thank you, Drake. And
go for it, Denise.
Okay, and I'm sure we've got a bazillion. The board is going crazy. The chat room's going crazy. Okay, let's see. Thank you for your patience, callers, by the way. All right, we have Glory. Glory, you are live with Drake.
Hello. Hi, Drake. It's Glory.
Hey.
Hi, Denise, Paul,
Hi.
Lady Dragon. Thank you for taking my call. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
yes,
you're fine.
Okay. I just would like to share with everybody that I've been watching this, as you know, for quite some time, and actually I am so excited by what I see going on. And when you called that green light is when things started happening. And I'll tell you what, with what's going on with the IRS being investigated, the Federal Reserve being audited, the Vatican being, I like to call it, raided, and you know, the theft that you're talking about, Drake, is coming out into the open, into the light of day everywhere. And it should be obvious to everyone that's, you know, here and listening, and they should be watching. I don't know how they can't be seeing it, but I think that now the biggest thing is just about to take place, because I'm in commercial finance and I've worked on these bond offerings that have been, you know, now in the news, because cities are filing bankruptcy based on the bond offerings that they accepted that were based on LIBOR rates. I was wondering, you know, how they could be offered at such great terms as they were being, and you know, now I understand there was a back end, and it's coming to light. This is going to be huge. I predict it's going to happen many, many more cities across our country by the end of the week. But, you know, another thing is, we've been told, especially recently, everybody here should have heard it, we're not alone. And I'd suggest everybody try to keep that in mind when they start, you know, getting worried about things. Try to think about that. But, you know, the biggest thing I wanted to ask you, your opinion, Drake, was COBRA has suggested, you know, that the most important thing that we can do is to meditate and focus our energy and our concentration on this effort. And, you know, in all reality, it really seems to me the best thing that we can do. And you know, it's hard, though. Where do you go? I know people are meditating. What time? What day? I don't know. It was suggested today. It was suggested today in the chat room that perhaps a good idea would be for us to think in our minds as a kind of a mantra, I am free. And if we kept that forefront in our minds and kind of the attitude of gratitude type of thinking, it's already a done deal, we are free. And honestly, I can see it as clear as day. It's happening. And so I just wanted to ask you, Drake, what would you think about that? And thank you.
Thank you, Glory.
There's been several experiments. I performed a couple when I was told that there were some planetary level problems that were coming, and I did so through Humanity Healing website. Any of the websites that deal with awareness, personal advancement and things of that nature, if they were to be gotten together at a certain time, a certain person, anybody can do this if you can get online, simply go to each one of these groups and say, we need to light our lights. We need to go into happy meditation at such and such a time on such and such a day. Try to make it so that everybody can do it. I'm going to suggest 8 o'clock in the evening. Then I would suggest again the following day at, say, 10 o'clock or so in the morning. This will give you second and third shift people a chance to also join in. Now, the basis is this. Everybody's heard of the thing called a sphere of influence. If somebody's got a nasty, funky, rotten underwear attitude, they stink. Almost really, whether they really do or not. That's called sphere of influence. If you can project a large enough sphere of influence and you're happy, you draw a crowd. It's like flies to sugar. And that's the basis of what this subject covers. Attitude towards something depends on what happens while you're doing something. If you don't want to hit your finger with the hammer, you get a good, happy attitude about doing what you're doing, and you thank God for not hitting your finger with the hammer, and you drive nails. It's pretty simple. Apply that to any form of employment or any condition of being, and it always works. Next question.
Great. Can I just add that?
Can I have something about this, Denise, please?
Sure.
Yeah, on my website I have a Sunday meditation from Cobra, where he has a time zone of everybody to do it every Sunday night, every Sunday, depending where you are located. Plus, I suggested to do it every day where you are. So that's where everybody's doing it that's following Cobra.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Glory, and thank you, Lady Dragon.
Can I add one more thing, Denise, real quick?
Oh, please do. Please.
I'd just like to say, for those of you listening that think it's a good idea, I've had personal experience in a situation which was completely dire straits, and the only thing that turned it around was my keeping it forefront of my mind the words "expect a miracle." And by God, I got one, and I can share that personally. I'm not going to do that here now, but if anybody really wants to know. But I can tell you that kind of thinking does work, and collectively, boy, I could just imagine the power. So thank you, and,
thank you,
and I really appreciate everything you're doing, Drake.
You're welcome.
Okay. Let's see. We have a caller who's been bumped a couple times and has been waiting. Tony, you are live with Drake.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to pose my question. First, a quick note to Lady Dragon, because I am from Canada. She said earlier that nobody was reporting about the ACP class action suit against the Crown, the Vatican, and the Big Pharma, and just want to correct that. On the Global Voice 2012 Canada page on Facebook, it was reported first time on July 1st, then again on July 3rd, July 9th, and then yesterday the Alfred Weber interview was posted on there, and today the latest info about the action suit was also posted, so just for her to know. And I think somebody from the membership has extended her an invitation to Lady Dragon if she wants to join the page, but I don't know what happened to that.
Let me clarify that, please. I said no major media was reporting. I didn't talk about you. And no, I didn't get any invitation from you.
Okay.
We'll make sure you get the invitation.
Okay. Drake, during the last radio show, I believe it was Bob Powell that asked you about why isn't the military arresting Obama? And you answered to him by saying that he's simply a puppet, and then you posed the question to him that the cabal is the people who are pulling the strings, and what would happen if the fingers of those pulling the strings get chopped off. And although I agree with you that cutting off the fingers of the puppeteers would be very damaging to the cabal, with all due respect, I see a little bit of a flaw in that. And there are many people controlling that same puppet. And going after the cabal has not been as easy a task or as fruitful as everyone, including yourself, has hoped it to be. And this was demonstrated by the absence of the mass arrests. Remember, although the cabal is the power behind the scenes, they still need Obama to do their bidding. They still need him to issue and sign orders. And unless I'm totally way off base here, it is Obama that the military takes orders from and not directly from the cabal. So if you eliminate the puppet, let me finish with my question. If you eliminate the puppet, a puppet as important as Obama, and I think that will deal a major crippling blow to the cabal, considering that, one, he signed the NDAA and other similar unconstitutional acts, and to that add the latest findings by Sheriff Joe Arpaio exposing him as an illegal, legitimate, unconstitutional pretender. I mean, there's already plenty of evidence for the military to move in and just arrest him. And if he is arrested, then I think that would deal a major blow to them. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, quite simply, the military is not listening to Obama any longer. He's basically made himself unusable. As far as the cabal goes, the cabal is primarily the money men. And he took a giant dump on them when he told them no on the Keystone Pipeline. And I'm talking hundreds of billions of dollars down the tubes because they decided he didn't want to play. He has not kept all but one of his quote promises or inferred goodies that he was going to provide. The only thing that he got through was Obamacare. Obamacare is a travesty, and it will be proved as such and adjusted to a point where it actually does what it's supposed to do. The ideas that Obama's in charge won't fly with anybody that has dealings with him. When he has gone to several events, they refuse to shake his hand or acknowledge his presence. Now, I don't know how strong it's got to be, but when heads of state don't pay you any attention, that sort of puts you in the trick bag. When the military, and I'm speaking specifically of our military, refuses to abide by his orders, he is no longer commander-in-chief. So right now, he is just simply filling an office. Now, he has done some things for the cabal that he didn't have a choice about. I found out quite a few things about his situation. He is not clean, and until such time as he rectifies his situation and actually does something positive, he's going to be adjudicated along with the other crooks. As far as the rest of the mess goes, you got a lot of shuffling going on, a load of tactics. You got a load of arrests that nobody hears about, and there's a movie about the CIA called The Recruit, and this guy, the instructor, explains very simply how it works. If you get a medal, they take you down in some musty basement somewhere and they show it to you. You don't even get it. And that's if you're not caught. If you get caught, nobody will ever hear about it. You'll be a star on the wall and no name. A lot of the people that are in services of different levels, of different kinds, both good guys and bad guys, are in the same situation. Those people who don't know this are those who are extraordinarily inexperienced.
Excuse me, Drake.
It goes very deep. Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I noticed that you're quite passionate about the upcoming gun treaty and the Trans-Pacific, the TPP. Now, one knows in July 27, doesn't Obama have to sign off on these? And if taking him out of office, would it not kind of make it not a problem anymore?
If he's not in office, Joe Biden takes over. At one point, Nancy Pelosi would have been next in line. Now I think it's, I forget the speaker's name. It goes right down the chain of command. Irrespective, if the Senate votes to ratify, it can stand on a treaty. That's the difference between a treaty and a bill. That's why these three items are important. They're all three treaties. And supposedly, once enacted, a treaty cannot be rescinded. It becomes the law of the land, period, and permanently. Well, there's one little flaw with that, and that is that when the people and government of a country decide, oh, no, you don't, then that's the answer. Oh, no, you don't. And this is why I'm calling for everybody to get in touch with that Office for Disarmament Affairs of the UN. I agree with the idea of disarming. Don't get me wrong. I don't like guns. However, I'd rather have a gun and not need it than not have one and need one. If, and this is the if, somebody comes and says that the Constitution don't mean squat, that you don't have any rights, and we're here to prove it, what's your reaction going to be? Are you going to pick up a gun, baseball bat, fight with them right there, not open the door? I mean, there's a whole bunch of different answers that go into this. My suggestion is to wait until the July 27th thing. Yeah, I'm passionate about it. That's a very obvious right. They've already screwed with the freedom of speech. You say the wrong thing and they say you're a terrorist, and you go visit someplace you don't want to be for as long as they decide they want to keep you. Now, where is the due process in that? There ain't any. What I'm trying to express is that we need to go back to the constitutionality of it all, period. We need to go back to constitutionally valid legal procedures found in common law, not maritime law, common law. You need to put the maritime law at sea, like where it belongs. You need to bring back the common law of the dry land where it belongs. You need to get rid of all these people. Now, they're basically signing up as treasonists, or they're signing either an arrest warrant or death sentence, one of the two. Depends on how the crowd that comes to get them acts. There's no end in sight of them giving it up until they're totally defeated. I want to see Neil Keenan stick it in them real hard and break it off so that they can't do this stuff anymore, so that they are taken down permanently. Then we need to legislate things so that it can never happen again. Those are the answers to this. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for your call. Okay, let's see. Oh, go ahead.
Denise, let me jump in real quick. Yeah, because in your last answer, you kind of sparked up the chat room with a couple of similar questions. If the military is not taking orders from Obama, why did we go into Libya? Why are there ships going into the Persian Gulf? Why are there large amounts of equipment running around the United States, and an increase in training exercises and things like that?
Well, you got to be ready for things, for one. Number two, all maneuvers are not exactly what they seem to be. Things are not as they seem. There's a tactic called two-way street, where certain elements being in a certain place are an advantage to the good guys more so than the bad guys. And when people start understanding and being able to look at it that way, then they'll start understanding the difference between someone who is trained to be able to see these things and understand what they really are, and those who are not. Now, you're getting into some complicated questions. I hope that answer will do. I'm going to try to shorten my answers.
Well, thank you. Go ahead, Denise.
Hello, Denise.
Denise?
She's in here somewhere. Denise.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, I could probably go grab you another one real quick.
Okay.
Let me find one because I wasn't prepared. I had the one question. Go ahead, Denise.
Oh, okay. We have Ed from Virginia.
Okay.
Ed, the former caller. He's a regular. Ed, you are live with Drake.
Thank you very much, Drake, and Lady Dragon, Paul, Denise, and Terry. Good evening. I wanted to, first of all, congratulate Drake for drawing so much fire, so many attacks, because you know, Drake, if you hadn't been close, if you're not right about these things, nobody would bother you. So the fact that you're drawing fire and you're having these personal attacks is a good thing, I think. And it says that you're extremely close to something very important to people who don't want that information out there. And so congratulations.
Well, thank you. And, you know, it's also free advertising.
Yeah, it is. And I wanted to say to those who may not realize it, is that there's an entire professional corps of people who are paid to be trashers, and they're paid to get disinformation out there. And anyone who takes a position contrary to just being a sheeple, that is, standing there and accepting commands, has to accept the fact that they're going to be attacked. And it's pretty naive not to understand that, I think. I'd like to give you a website. I spoke of it last week, and it's up now. It has this HTTP www, that's standard for all of them. It's all one word, no spaces. It's Project Exposure MMXII-2012. And the MMXII is Roman numerals for 2012. And if you'll go there, you'll find that there is opposition to these attacks, that there's actually an organized response. And the response is to track down, identify both the people who are doing this and to identify and expose their employers so that we can find out exactly who has this information or the truth that they want to hide. And I think it's going to be a very interesting exercise. It's already begun. And anyone who has a lead to this, or if you're listening rather, and you're one of these people who has sold and bankrupted your soul for a paycheck, there's time, you can be redeemed, and every soul has value. So you can turn yourselves in from the dark side and cooperate with the light, and I'll be happy to employ you.
Thank you very much, Ed.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, let's see. Our next caller is Patty in California. Patty, you are live with Drake.
Yes. I would like to thank you and give everyone kudos to all of your incredible updates and truth, late-breaking news, and your incredible amount of research. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My question is for Drake. On Sunday, July 8th, you mentioned that it is possible we may see the big 4 or 5 banks fail. How will that affect Wells Fargo, who is owned or controlled by China? And will these big banks be replaced by more smaller, local U.S. Treasury banks?
Yes. Wells Fargo is in a unique position among the bigger banks. Some of the changes that went on at that particular entity were extraordinary. A lot of the people they picked up came from JPMorgan, and the reason that they were able to align so easily with China is basically the fact that China is in the process of restructuring itself. And a lot of people aren't aware of this, but some of our old enemies are not exactly our enemies anymore. One of the main people they'd like to pick up on that Trans-Pacific partnership is China, and they won't talk to them. So that'll give you an idea as to the stature and standing. Now, in terms of banking here in the States, only those banks that are heavily affiliated with the central banking system will be affected, primarily Bank of America, people of that nature. You're going to find that there's the Treasury is not as such per se going to have branch banks. In other words, you would have issues of currency on a loan basis, say, to a bank that needed capital to see it through a tight period, that sort of thing. The restructuring is going to be found in groupings of small independent banks. And these small independent banks can, if they decide to do so, form a working partnership. And this in a working partnership in financial institutions means that you work closely together, but you are still separate entities. That's sort of like finding your soulmate but not getting married. It makes for a certain amount of excitement because at any point a person does something that's nasty, no matter what that may be, and that partner can walk or not be affiliated any longer. And these sorts of agreements to be on your good behavior, or the idea of having to be, are primarily what will keep the transparency in the financial systems after they are restructured. So that should answer that question.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you for your call. Okay, let's see. We have Chase from Georgia. Chase, you are live with Drake.
Hi, hello.
Hey.
Yes, I would just like to say to everyone that meditation really, really does help, and you have to really keep that focus. You know, I've been trying to do it. Sometimes I get thrown off, but just do it every single day as much as you can whenever you get a chance. It'd be the perfect thing to do.
Positive affirmation, yes.
And I would also like to say thank you, Drake, so much. I listen to you every day. You know, just all the information that I get is just perfect for me and everybody around here that's listening. And I would also like to say that Cobra just posted his new post, and it has said that the Matrix is hackable.
It is.
Well, that is just great news. Well, you know, I'm just going to stick around and listen. You know, thank you very much. I don't have any questions. You know, I'm just enjoying the show.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
right.
Chase. Have a wonderful day.
Enjoy all the fun.
Yes, yes, Lady Dragon.
Okay, I would like to add to what the gentleman just said. Yes, Cobra just sent me information about, it's called the plan. That's what he says. Well, I'm certain it's a specific code for people, but what he says is the plan. And then he has three gifts. One is the matrix in blue, and then there's a still picture. There's a way to act the matrix, and then the last gift is a bunch of white crystal in movement. It's called mission ignition. So it's very interesting. So I suggest to people that like to follow what Cobra says to look at this. It's very interesting.
Oh, thank you, Lady Dragon. Thank you very much.
You're
okay,
welcome.
next question. We have Carrie from California. Carrie, are you? Hi, Carrie. You're live
can
with
you hear
Drake.
me?
Yes, we
Hi
can.
again. Hi, Drake. Hi, Lady Dragon. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I had a question, but the question I was going to ask, I guess I can wait. All this talk about the GMOs and Monsanto and stuff, I've been listening to the show, and first of all, let me say that the work you're doing is absolutely wonderful, Lady Dragon, up in Canada. Drake, I follow you now every single show, and the work that you and everyone else is doing is absolutely wonderful, and we continue to say our prayers day and night for safety and to keep everyone going. I did find something. You were talking about the Monsanto rider. I found something on the internet I would like to say, and then I have a question. Regarding the rider, it would give companies like Monsanto full control and make the Secretary of the Agriculture step aside in a way that would give them permits cultivating GM crops in the country. There is one representative from Oregon, Peter DeFazio. He's trying to push through an amendment that would kill the havoc-wreaking rider. So hopefully there is one good person. Now the other thing I found on here was that I got to get back to it. That was signed that basically says that we cannot, as Americans, we cannot grow food in our own backyard. What is going on with that? That makes it illegal.
Yes, a law has been passed already. You're not allowed to grow food in your backyard.
Yeah, that's a
bunch of bunk. I mean,
Well, no, it's not.
Having our own.
What you're dealing with is what you're dealing with is regulation, and it comes from the FDA. The problem is that there have been issues brought up where things such as the right to water, people do not have the right to water. People do not have the right to decide the foods they eat, nor are they allowed to grow them without permission. Now, this is all regulatory, and it's almost all FDA. This is where you get your Gestapo raids on somebody that's selling raw milk, that sort of thing, or a co-op where you have people who get together. One guy knows how to raise goats, another guy knows how to garden or whatever, and at the end of the year, your harvest, you split it up, and that's your food source.
I understand. So they're saying that I cannot grow tomatoes in my own backyard.
If they want to come and rip them out, supposedly they have federal authority to do so. This is called the overreach, which is common, which I've covered in all three of these things I've presented tonight, of a combination of both corporation and governmental control. The ideology is to make us fully and totally dependent upon them. In that manner, then you got to go to them for food and water. Well, when you get hungry enough, you come out of the woods, and that's just how it is. Now, I offer that part of setting this country free is to put them out in the woods and see how well they do when all they got is a sharp knife, and nobody's allowed to feed them, and things of this nature. that may sound kind of obtuse, but somebody that wants to come rip my tomato plant out is going to get a fight. That's all there is to it, and not just from me. And my wife is sitting here just grinning, thinking about using my samurai sword on somebody that would show up and maybe giving them a second circumcision or something of that nature. I'm sure.
Terry.
We are going to need to clamp down on this hard.
Okay, so that leads me to my question now. What can we do in our own communities? I'm in one community here in Southern California. I mean, what can we do, Drake and Lady Dragon, to get the word out? I mean, I talk to people till I'm blue in the face, and they look at me like I'm from the, no pun intended, another planet.
Okay, I'll make a suggestion. People have a tendency to pay a little better attention to written items. If you've got the official edict from the Food and Drug Administration printed out, and you give it to the right person, that person's going to look at it. Okay, and my suggestion is that you take it down to some local place that provides plants, and give it to the person that's managing it. There's 1,000 different ways. Find somebody that's got a big garden who really, wow, man, I got tomatoes and I got this and I got that, and oh, look at that watermelon. When they find out that somebody from the federal government, just because they didn't get permission, and you got to get permission, seriously, can come in and stomp on their plants or tear all their shrubbery out or whatever arbitrarily, then maybe, and just maybe, you'll start getting community action. Now, I have stressed community. I've also stressed militias. Now, these people show up in riot gear, full body armor, with machine guns to do these things. Now, what would happen if all of a sudden 50 neighbors showed up with their shotguns and rifles and said, no, no? What would happen if the sheriff, local community, was standing there as well saying, you want to go to jail for that? That's destruction of private property. There's a lot of different things. I had a meeting with my sheriff, and the man is pretty much constitutional. They don't like the federal government any more than most of the citizens around here like somebody telling them what to do. Most of these people are independent and intend to maintain that. You need to grow a community group. You need to procure legal firearms, and in California that's difficult, but it can be done. And if there's a group of you, they will definitely take notice. Oh, we'll be back with the Army. Fine. Come back when you got a warrant. Oh, we don't have to. Oh, yes, you do. Search, seizure, procurement of a specific item, they got to name the plants. This goes into legalities. And
right, and then it goes back from what you have said too, and I have listened. It goes back to the Constitution. That Constitution, the Constitution is the framework of our country. I mean, and I've listened to what you said tonight about July 27th coming up. How dare the United Nations tell us, the people, the legal citizens of the United States of America, that we cannot bear arms? That is in our Constitution. How dare they do that? How dare these people do that?
Well, first they took those websites down. Now they're looking at taking the guns. They're telling you that they can come and stomp out your garden, rip up your tomato plants. I mean, when I'm asking the people out there that are listening to this, what's your limit? I mean, they're going to eventually get around to your cold beer and your comfy couch. Pretty soon you're not going to have anything on TV other than government programming. And believe me, I've seen some of that, and it sucks.
Our current government under the, and I don't even like saying his name, the president, you know who I'm speaking of, he doesn't seem to give two pins about the citizenry of the United States of America.
Well, he's not. He's a foreign agent, so you know what do you expect from a foreigner? He's Keenan.
Yeah. Carrie, thank you for your question.
A friend of mine asked me if
we have to get to we have to get to other callers.
Excuse me.
Well, he would like to know. This is on his behalf. I'm sorry. This is on his behalf. The islands that were given away to the effect of the Russians, will we get those back around Alaska?
Yes, those are the turn.
Those.
Excuse me, Denise.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Lady Dragon.
I have two things to say. First of all, to answer Drake's question, I have found exactly what the bill is about. It's Farmer Assurance Provision, Section 733. Okay? And to answer the lady question, this is why I have on my site, fcm2012.com, a flyer that you can print and give it to everybody. I say to everybody that emails me their telephone and that wants to help, this is what you need to do. Find out who's in charge of your mayor, in charge of the sheriff and your journalism, and know if there are people that are helping or not people that are not helping. If they are helping, back them up and give them support. If they are not helping, vote for somebody better. But in order to do that, you need people. That's why it's important to spread the word. And the lady says she's talking to people that doesn't want to listen to her. Well, lady, there's a lot of people that want to listen to your message. It's just a matter of finding them. That's why flyers is very good. Written paper, like Drake said, is the best way. That's my message to you, lady.
Okay. Again, Carrie, thank you for your questions. We have a lot of callers still in the queue. Paul, did you have some from the chat that you wanted to bring forth?
Go ahead and take another call right now because I got a storm coming through.
Okay. All right. All right. Caller, you are live with Drake. Hello, caller. You are live with Drake.
Me?
That is you.
Hi, this is Great Grammy J, everybody.
Hey there.
Hi.
Hi, Grandma J.
How you doing, Grandma J?
Hi. You'll never guess where I'm at.
In the mountains.
Well, you already knew, Drake. That's not fair. I spoke to you this morning. I am in the Ozark Mountains. I'm sitting in the front seat of my car with my car running for 3 hours just to listen to all you guys because I have no internet and my cell phone range is limited. And right outside my window are a bunch of Bengal tigers and lions and you name it. I'm at the largest big cat rescue in the world that is open to the public. I brought T here for his 41st birthday.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You like that?
You're having a great time, too, aren't you, Grammy?
Well, relaxing, yeah. I was having some trouble with my back and my stomach, but we've just been taking it at a time. And I want you to know that how much I love you. We've been sitting in this car for 3 hours with the car running.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Grammy.
Some of my
I love everybody and all the listeners, and God bless all of you. And we need to stay strong. We cannot let the bad guys win. You got that?
Yep.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Okay, Grammy, you enjoy the rest of the show, and we'll talk to you real soon, okay?
Okay, love you all. Hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses to you too, Grammy. And T, happy birthday.
Yes, ma'am. Love you, Denise.
Denise.
Love you, Paul.
Yes.
Love you, Paul.
Love you, Grammy J. I just wanted to jump in here because we're getting a lot of questions because this comes up every time again. is that people want to know about the paperwork, the state's paperwork, what states are involved, are we free, and if so, why aren't we using, constitutional law and everything else? And just take confidence, people, that the paperwork has been filed, the states are covered, everything is in place, everything's moving forward, and once this nation is secured, then that'll be the proper time for all the states to bring forth their paperwork, to present to the people, to rebuild and restart this republic in proper fashion. And I don't know if you want to follow up on that, Drake.
No, I think you did a good job.
That pretty much said it.
Excuse me, Denise, can I say something to people, please? There was a news that I had before, but now I'm getting more Twitter about this, that the SWAT team in Seattle are rating occupied people. So see, you don't have guns, you cannot defend yourself. That's the point. They think you can just you're coming a little slave and they're going to run over you. It's a big major story that the only people who are reporting it so far that I've seen is Russian TV. Russian TV reporting news in the U.S. That's why I was saying journalism in the U.S. and Canada and everywhere is rubbish,
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, let's get to some more callers here. So we have Buck from Atlanta. Buck, you are live with Drake and Lady Dragon.
Okay, thank you. Drake, I want to make a couple of quick statements. I meditate. When I meditate, it's on the Word of God. It just seems to be that's where we need to go back to, is because the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. And one of the things I think that the key that what we've got here that we've got to do, we talk about arresting people and doing this and doing that, but the key element, I believe, is what it says in the Word of God. It says, money answereth all things. And it says, God said, the gold and silver is mine. And I understand that the new monetary system is going to be asset-based, using some of the precious metals and some other things as well. But that's the basis for it. And if we don't starve the beast, and I think that's the most important thing we can do, is we got to cut off the money. You cut off the money, they lose their power. That's their power. Their power is mammon. And so if we cut that off, I think that's number one. And I said number two then would be to take over the media so you can get to the people and let the people know what's going on. And then the thing that I think that you can say to the military, if I understood your comment earlier, was they were worried about treason. How many times a day does the president on down and all the and people in government, how many times a day do they do treason against the Constitution of the United States? So if they've got the marching orders from the private citizenry of the republics now that have been, isn't that enough for them to not worry on this treason issue? I mean, they've got the permission from the civil authority now. Isn't that enough in your case? What do you believe?
I believe that's correct. The thing that, like I said, the last I heard was that they wanted to hear what people thought about this small arms treaty. And I'm hoping that we burn up the UN's phone system. If one of those numbers I've given out don't go through, get online and find another one. And it don't matter who you're talking to. And it don't matter if they speak English or not. Call them up and tell them to go back to wherever it was they came from. In terms of the military's action, they've been extraordinarily busy. This I know because I was briefed on some stuff through channels, and I did not realize some of the problems they were running across in terms of being able to maintain their secrecy to an extent, and at the same time forward the plans. That's extraordinarily difficult when you ain't got everybody watching you. So
yes, I understand.
I'm willing to give them some slack until July 27th. If July 27th rolls around And the vote don't go the right way, to me, that's a declaration of war against the people. It's an act of treason by those who vote for it. And in some cases, I'm pretty sure if these people get caught flat-footed out in the open by citizens who are bloodthirsty mad about them starting to take away the rest of their rights, I won't guarantee their safety. This is one of the reasons that it's been offered, that these people surrender so that they can be taken into custody, protective custody from us. There's some people that like to chop them up in little pieces and feed them to the dog. And it'd be more fun if we had public hangings, in my opinion. I think hanging people is a pretty cool way to execute somebody who desperately needs it. Besides that, you get to, everybody gets to watch if they really want to. Yeah, there's tons of stuff going on. And as I say, when I got briefed, I was quite honestly surprised at everything that they have to do. They're fighting within their own ranks to an extent. There's disagreements within the ranks. Then to go along with that, they got the political end of it. Then they got things scattered all over the place because you got a bunch of numbnuts that think that logistics is some kind of a game. If you've seen the movie Heartbreak Ridge, you know what a Chinese fire drill is. He called it a cluster something or another, and that fits. They're dealing with a mess. They're looking to us for two things. One is support, and the other is they want to see what kind of reaction happens. So, Department of Defense, the Pentagon, call them up and say, hey, they want to hear a voice, give them one.
Well, again, we need to we need to starve the beast.
That's the Neil Keenan lawsuit that does that. It goes to the bank and takes their money. So, I'm waiting on that too.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Buck. We have a lot more questions. We're going to try to get to everyone if we can today. Thanks again, Buck.
Okay. Drake, I want to just clarify one of your statements that you just made, that you wouldn't mind seeing public hangings. You need to preface that with after a proper adjudication of law.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You're a guilty mother. Come here.
People might get the wrong idea that you're advocating lynch mobs. So.
Well, I'm not so sure, Paul. I'm going to be honest with you. As mad as everybody is right now anyway, and with the combination of intentional economic conditions, like no jobs, taking your house, screwing with you every chance they get. You're a Latino, you must be an illegal, and all that happy stuff. I wouldn't blame them. I'll just be real honest with you. I would not blame them. It ain't the right thing to do. You're absolutely correct. However, some people lose it, and there's a lot more people out there that are right at the edge right now. I don't advocate lynch mobs, no. But if this is the reason I'm suggesting that the military start taking its action and do so before problems arise that nobody needs, to include lynch mobs, shooting revolutionary type actions and things of this nature. I don't want to see that. I want to see the smooth transition that this is supposed to be. But I'm not going to guarantee it at this point. Not past the 27th, on the way that vote goes.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify a bit so people don't get the wrong impression, that's all.
All right.
Okay, let's see. We have Marilyn in San Francisco. Marilyn, you are live with Drake.
Yeah, hi, Drake. Thanks a lot. I heard you say, I wondered if I could confirm, if I heard this correctly, that Neil Keenan has control of the collateral accounts, meaning also every American straw man account, which is a Social Security type?
No. You have to remember this. everything that you understand is based on a big falsie. Basically, it's a lie. That includes our currency, because the United States doesn't have a currency. We have an international currency called the Federal Reserve Note, but the United States itself don't even got a dollar. And I thought that was interesting when I came across the concept and found out to be true. Okay, that's first. Number two, you have to remember that all arbitrarily placed values deal with leverage, theft, and borrowing. All of the currencies are based upon the collateral within the collateral accounts. Neil Keenan is the only man on the planet who has the legal authority to deal with the collateral accounts. The collateral accounts belong to the people of the globe, of the planet. Doesn't belong to a government, doesn't belong to groups, individuals, etc. And all of the Social Security and all of the straw man accounts and all of that stuff basically is sort of like penny stocks. Most of them are worthless. Most of what we got in the way of what we think we have in terms of value doesn't have any. You look at the stock market, and you'll find, if you look at one of the stocks, and you can pick any one you want, you'll find what's called a multiple, and that's earnings ratios and things of this nature. In other words, you divide by, say, a multiple of 20, which is sort of an average for stocks on the stock market. Divide that value, whatever it is, by 20, and that gives you the real value of the stock. Most of the stock market, and this is going to blow some minds, is made up of penny stocks. But when you take and multiply by 20, 30, 40, it goes into dollars. And that's just how simple it is. Most companies do not have the asset base in terms of the value that is offered through public access, which is the initial public offering or the stock markets. This is also true of bonding and things of that nature. If you want to invest, the best thing in the world that you can buy, and you know, it's a nice little secret, but if you want to retire, or if you don't like to pay for something that's pie in the sky like insurance, it's called a payable annuity. In short, if you want to insure a house, you buy a payable annuity in terms of its value equal to the house itself. At the end of a period of time, and this varies, it can be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, some go as long as 50, you pay an initial fee. That's the base. That initial base then accrues interest because it is a security. And what happens is that it accrues that interest until it matures. At the date of maturity, and that can be 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, you get the full value of what you purchased. And if you leave it alone, it's like the old savings bond. If you leave it alone, then you really start accruing value. I screwed up and cashed my savings bond in, and I should not have done that. My dad bought it the day after I was born. It was worth about $25, $30, and I needed the cash. So big dummy me, I cashed it in. I was wondering why the banker was so happy to get that thing. Now I found out. When I cashed it, he became the owner of it. If he sits on that thing, the interest starts doubling and tripling after a certain point. I'll give you an example of insurance that is nice. It's called baby pay insurance. The day of the birth of a child, you buy what's called term life on the baby. And what happens to the term life is that it turns into pure insurance, changes from term insurance to pure insurance, meaning that it has a cash value that accrues sufficient interest to pay for itself. plus the principal continues to grow. And over a period of time, on one of those, just one of those simple little things, it only costs like $2 a week or something, you can retire nicely. So, you know, there's some finance for you. Next question.
Thank you very much, Marilyn. Okay, we have Pete. We have Pete from St. Pete.
Hey, Drake.
Pete, you're live with Drake.
Hey, Drake. I'm just curious. I seem to remember reading, I think David Wilcock said that there was truckload after truckload after truckload of evidence against these people. I can understand their position on the Second Amendment, but if we have evidence, I think we need to move.
That's what I've been pushing on the Army about.
Yeah, I just want to address the couch of potatoes at the Pentagon to get up and move, because I think it's time.
I am inclined to agree. The only problem is that the chain that I get said that they are waiting to see what kind of reaction this gun grab legislation by the United Nations comes out to be. Now, I'm going to suggest that, first of all, they're not going to be able to pass that. I don't think people are that stupid. But the more people who holler about it now, the sooner the military will take their action. The more people who say, we want to be free and we'll do whatever it takes, the more willing they're going to be to get off the couch, whether it's stars, bars, or whatever they're wearing. And believe me, I have the utmost respect for people in the military. I've been in the military. Some of the responsibility for some of the idiots that they had under their command is unbelievable. I'm surprised they didn't shoot more of our own people, to be honest with you. But that's basically where it's at. And the truckloads of evidence are waiting. They're secreted away.
My fear is if the UN thing fails, we may be looking at another year before anything takes place.
Oh, it's going to be sooner than that.
So, anyway, I appreciate what you guys do, and I wish everybody the best of luck.
Thank you very much, Pete. Thank you for your call. Paul, did you have a question? Yeah?
Yeah, Drake, I want you to address this question, because I think some people are still confused about things, and I understand it, because this is a red herring type story that people want to know about Joe Arpaio's press conference coming out on the 17th exposing the birth certificate, and some people don't realize that he's just a CEO of a corporation versus president of a constitutional America.
Exactly. The thing is that the reason this is being done is to prove his ineligibility to hold the office that he supposedly holds. In other words, an impeachment gives the validation to his holding the office. This is why impeachment is not a good idea. The man needs to be simply removed for a combination of actions that he's taken that are contrary to the Constitution and our freedom. To go along with that, he's not qualified to serve anyway. So that's basically what that is about. Okay?
Right. Yeah, do you have any thoughts on it as far as, is it, something important, or is it just one of those stories to keep the masses distracted while other things happen, or?
Well, to be honest with you, it's critical. My suggestion is that if the man has come up with proof that is fraudulent, that means the man was never elected legally. That means he is out of the office now. I don't know if Joe Biden would be somebody I'd want in that office, just to be real honest with you. He seems like he's got a couple screws loose. If something of this nature comes about, and there is a removal, then that will probably trigger mass arrests. in my opinion. It would be stupid not to, because as soon as one person has been found to be guilty of crimes against the people, against the country, and their representatives, they know that they are going to be charged with some level of treasonous activity. So they're going to probably run for cover. This is why I would suggest, if they end up having to take that action, my suggestion, real honestly, would be to go ahead and finish the job. Okay?
Thank you so much, caller. Okay, we have Dr. P. Dr. P, you are live with Drake.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Hi, Drake. Hi, Lady Dragon. Hi, Denise.
Hey, Dr. Drake.
I was on a week and a half ago when we were all very worried about your safety, so I'm glad you're well and safe. I'd like to just throw out some cautionary notes as a scholar and somebody who's been lecturing pretty much all over the world. And I want to preface it by we're also getting some major news from the Galactic Free Press. That's www.soundofheart, one word, and then you just click and there's major news, cutting-edge news that's not getting reported anyplace else. I think we should think about caution and a little safer way of doing things. I understand that everybody is exhausted and there always comes a date and it comes and passes. But there are a couple of things, having just driven across 3,600 miles of the country, again, we've had no chemtrail assault in many parts of the Pacific Northwest for the last 8 days. And I think that's very significant given that they've been spraying us with an assortment of heavy-duty poisons, many of which I've had tested in my own, what I call snow SNO, because it's not the real stuff anymore. So money is running out because obviously we're not getting sprayed every day the way we used to. The FDA, which you mentioned earlier, has a revolving door policy, and everything, as far as I'm concerned, is broken and not fixable at all. With whatever money might be left, and I think that there's very little, personally. I would think that we have to find a peaceful way because the drones that they've got all around the world, they could spray us with God knows what. And one of the things that I've been proposing over the last 3.5 years, along with Jim Kerwin, is that we need a national strike. We've never really done that. And it would be fitting right now, given that millions of people have lost their homes, millions of people are out of work, and figures for everything have been rigged by the mass media, that perhaps we might be able to work something out through some of the alternative media to collectively stay home for 3 or 4 days. People are out of work anyway. Don't go shopping. Get whatever food you need. And if the country really stopped, as one of the previous callers said, hit them in their pockets, which they've never had from us. Fill up your tank if you drive the car, and make sure there's food at home, and then stay home. They don't have the manpower, the woman power to come after all of us, and perhaps that would be a peaceful way to give the positive military whatever time they need ahead of the lunacy of the UN stuff that's planned for the 27th. And I would like to hear your thoughts on a national strike, because I think we could pull this together in about a week with the various links that we have. And Lady Dragon, I'd be appreciative to hear what you would have to say too. Thank you very much.
I hate to say this, but I like the idea of peacefulness, calm, cool, collected, and I agree with what you're saying. However, what they're attempting to do is to use UN forces to enforce the collection of firearms and registration. Any force that shows up on my front porch under arms that is not invited will be asked to leave. I'll try to be nice. But one of the reasons I'm armed is because the Second Amendment is designed to keep our government under control, knowing that the people are armed and might take very real physical exception to the actions of the government. This is true on both local and national levels. And from what I am seeing, and I think, as I said before, I don't think that the UN Small Arms Treaty will be ratified here. However, you still got the law of the sea and Trans-Pacific Partnership, all treaties that need to be dealt with. In terms of restraining people from taking actions, generally, reasonable people go along with that. No, man, you're too drunk to drive. Come with me. You need to go over here and lay down and all that. Somebody who is totally lucid knows what they're doing, knows the intent of what they're doing, and wants to rub it in your face. I'm sorry, but those people get restrained by use of force. Somebody who would use a gun against me will find that I'm a pretty good shot. Just that simple. My talk with the sheriff, my local sheriff, is that I back up him. I back up the constitutional provisions of law, of order, of no chaos, things of that nature. I do not like the idea of having to use force, period. However, what has happened is this. We've been backed into a corner. The military and these people that are doing this realize this and understand it. This is why I am issuing a notification, full alert, July 27th. Call every representative you got and tell them to tell these people, no, vote against it. The people that do vote for this, I will see if I can't personally arrange to have them charged with treason. So we're looking at a partial house clearing or cleaning if it's not a unanimous no vote. If I can get these people charged with treason, they will be arrested and they will be held. And it will be safer for them to be in jail than it would be if they went home or stayed in their offices, irrespective as to whether it's government offices or not. This ensures that somebody doesn't screw up their karma for the rest of their life by taking a life out of hand. However, it may come to that. And this is the part that I don't like, that they are putting us in the position that it may end up being a shooting revolution and not the peaceful transition it was intended to be. This is the part that angers me the most. Now, I'm hoping that this is all propaganda. And if anybody does not know what the word propaganda means, you need to go to some place where there are Latino people and look around and you'll find a trash can and it'll say propaganda. Now you know what that is, trash. A lot of things may be distractions to an extent. However, we're not in a position to be wasting time playing games any longer. This has gotten down to, if they take this right, then you don't have any way to resist force that they will apply in terms of making you do what they want you to do. That includes taking guns, or you, or your family, or your food, extracting you from your home. And if you've never seen an extraction, I suggest you watch some TV and see one. It ain't nice. So, you know, this is the tipping point. This is the shot heard around the world. The trigger will be pulled by their actions. And that's just basically where it's at. I was hoping for better, but right now I don't see it.
Yeah, and Drake, to add to this, yes, people underestimate the power of a telephone or to these offices. You know, like when Drake asked to call the Pentagon, they were very, very angry that they could. The only thing they were airing 24/7 was what Drake said. Now, do it again. But it's time to make sure that everybody hears you. You are in California, you call your senator, you call your Congress in California. You are in Oregon, you do the same thing. Oh, and I have telephone for people who say, oh, what do I do? I'm in Canada, I'm in Australia. Well, you call from Australia, you call from Canada, you call from everybody in the world calling the representative in the U.S., trust me, they will move.
Yep.
Dear?
Yep. Lady Dragon, we have about 2.5 minutes left, and then I'm going to play a closing song, and we'll be able to take our last couple 3 callers off the air after the 3 hours is up here.
Okay.
But I'm going to take one more caller, and yes.
Yeah, I wanted to get a closing question in for Drake to get it on the air. Is that a lot of people in the chat room are really psyched up and appreciate everything you're doing, but they're all asking, where do they find their local militia? What's the website? Is it on your website, or do we go to Rick Light's site, or where?
I would try Rick Light's site or usmilitia.com.
And Rick Light's site is RAM, WRAMSITE.
Yeah, and my website, if people want to go to work and help us in all of this, it's ladydragon.com.
And AmericanNationalMilitia.com.
And GlobalVoice2012.com.
GlobalVoice.com.
Okay. Let's everybody get a plug-in now. Okay. Okay, so was that the only? Did you have another one, Paul, before we close?
No, I just wanted to get that on the record.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We'll take one more quick call from Tina. Tina, you are live with Drake. Quick question.
Yes. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's the last remote viewer who said he wasn't going to remote view anymore and moved to Hawaii. And the last remote viewing that he did stated that he saw many politicians and people in high-ranking positions in the United States being assassinated by U.S. citizens, and that this was just before the spring uprising. And it was like last winter. He said it was going to be global, where there was going to be a lot of violence. And I'm wondering, I know that the remote viewing was with the military. He said he didn't know if it was going to continue with the black ops, the contracted military. But, you know, has the military said anything to you about this? Is that why they're taking action now, because they see this coming? I mean, are they paying attention to this kind of stuff, or are they just on their own program?
They're listening to our show as we speak. If that'll answer that question pretty much, yes.
I mean, in regards to the what the seer saw in the remote viewing before he resigned.
Exactly. That's the part of it. there's a whole bunch of things coming up. And what you have to remember about predictions is that they are not written in stone. There are variables in there that can change the scenario. In other words, it might be a volcanic eruption that takes out somebody instead of troops or police. So there's a lot of variation, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller, very much. Okay, with that, we're going to close the program. However, I will continue, and we will take the last couple of questions off the air. And be with us again this coming Sunday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern with Drake and his Vital Weekend update. And that's it for now, and you can listen back to the end of the questions on the archive. Okay, we are back. This is the after hours portion of the show. Drake, you're still with us, huh?
Absolutely. You played my favorite song.
Okay, and Lady Dragon, you're with us. And
yes, I'm here, Denise. I'm here.
I do believe Paul is still with us. Paul, you still here?
Yes, and Lori's here too to continue transcribing the notes of the show so that we can get them posted immediately.
Thank you very much, Lori, for doing that. Okay, I have 3 more callers. I don't know if they've hung on or not. We can see if they're still with us. Let me see.
Go for it.
Tina from California, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay, Tina. Thank you for your patience, and I'm sorry we didn't make it with you on the air.
No, actually you did. I was the one that asked about the remote viewing.
Oh, okay. So
I just wanted to stay and hear the other questions.
Oh, okay, honey. Well, hang right on. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I had more than one Tina. That's cool. Okay. Michelle from Ohio. Are you still with us?
I sure am.
Okay, Michelle, I apologize that you were not on the air, but it will be listenable in the archives.
That's
you're
okay.
Live
this
with Drake.
Is probably a better question left off the air anyway.
Oh, okay. Well,
and Drake, that's my favorite song too, buddy.
Okay.
Is the provost marshal involved in any of this?
Absolutely. He's part of the military in a way.
Is it still the she?
Well, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I use that as a royal term. The provost is an interesting position because it can do both civilian and military and certain governmental functions. We had an inspector general that was heavily involved in the Wall Street scandal, just to give you an idea. And this person that you're speaking of happens to agree with that particular person. And he had paddy wagons lined up on Wall Street when the fun and games happened. And I got to give him kudos. The provost marshal does take directives. It's not an order situation, but a directive. We need to accomplish X, and goes from there. Some of the provost activities recently have been removing certain individuals from the Pentagon, and that's classified.
Good to hear.
You understand that the good guys are winning.
That's what I wanted to know. That's why I was asking you about that particular position. Thank you.
You're welcome. We got another question, Denise?
Yes, we do. We have Andrea from New York. Andrea, you are live with Drake.
Hi there, Drake. How are you this evening?
I'm good.
Good. Oh, it's been a long time. I've tried to get on here for a little while. I read on the White Hats report, excuse me, something about that the top members of the cabal have some protective defense mechanisms in case anything should happen to them, and they include but are not limited to the use of biochemical weapons. And I guess there's
that's Cobra that reported that. Yes, that's accurate.
Yeah, certain devices that monitor all main bodily functions, and if anything strange happens, they send alerts to the advanced weapons systems. And then some special computer program decides if any of those weapons is to be used. Now, what do you know about that? I guess if Stardust 2 was to be used, are you familiar with Stardust 2?
I'm familiar with a lot of advanced things that the military would love to have what I know. They've been after me for years for this stuff. The countermeasures are being taken to avert that problem you're talking about. That's going to be your 6th level entities that do so.
The highest level people, right?
No, that's not quite the highest, but these are high enough.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess I was mistaken.
The highest level is The highest level is level 8. That is the creator.
7, yes, of course.
7 attends to the creator and issues directives to the other entities at lower levels. 6 are a combination of special messengers. 5 is where we're going to go.
Oh, okay. Now, where in these levels are the Jesuits? Where are they?
Depends on which ones you're talking about. There's a good faction and a bad faction. The bad faction's in the toilet. The good faction are those who have left the Jesuit order, which happened not too long ago.
Okay.
And moved their body of people to a safe location that I cannot divulge.
Okay. So the bad ones are still around then, I guess.
Yeah, those are the ones that are running the Vatican Bank, and all that problem. They created that primarily. And they're going to be, the problem is that they should have left, and they didn't, and now they're going to be caught in it. It's sort of like a spider web. The harder you resist, the worse it gets, kind of thing. So this is what the tactics of the military supposedly are supposed to be presently.
Okay.
So they'll put the bad guys in a position where they don't have any choice but to expose themselves if they wish to survive, and when they expose themselves, they are snatched.
Okay. But now these top members of the cabal that they were speaking about as far as this, mechanism, they're not the Jesuits?
No.
Okay.
Jesuits are a lower order. You have, let's see, you got Jesuits, you've got what's called pure Satanics, and then you have the Illuminati.
Right.
And then you have those who are in charge of the Illuminati, who give the absolute directives supposedly directly from the dark force.
Okay. Okay, now I'm straightened out. It's very hard when you're reading all these different things and you find something else, but it says the same thing, but they might have worded it a little bit different, and they might have said, oh, well, it's this faction or that faction. So it, to try to really decipher things can get difficult, I think, sometimes.
Absolutely. And one of the problems we've got is that people are doing what they call channeling, and that is not the correct form of communication. And I don't care who don't like it. The correct form of communication is telepathy. And it's similar to what people are familiar with in terms of the military program, where it is intuitive communication. Intuitive communication is where the meaning of something comes through, and or pictures, and or feelings about something. And you have to be able to translate that. This is why the training is so extraordinary and intense.
And the military trains people?
They've been doing that since the 40s.
My goodness. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, you've been so very informative, and I have listened to you from the beginning when you first started, and I have told all my friends about you, and a lot of them listen, and I appreciate everything you're doing. I believe in my heart that we will win from everything that I'm seeing.
That's excellent. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now. Okay, we have another New Yorker.
Okay.
Maybe one of Andrea's friends. This is Cindy from New York.
Hi. Yeah, no, I don't know Andrea, but perhaps maybe one day we can meet.
Yeah, you're live with Drake, Cindy.
Hi, Drake. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you. I guess my question is, what about individual sovereignty? What would that do?
Individual sovereignty is the state of being free,
right,
with which comes responsibilities.
Well, I don't want to be free from responsibilities, but I want to be free from their jurisdiction to tell me what I can and cannot do.
Well,
would that help?
Only partially.
Well, what if everybody did that?
You'll find that you'll find out that it works similar to self-control. Foolishness is locked in the heart of a child. We are considered children primarily by these advanced entities, and due to that fact, we get to go back to grade school. You got to learn how to walk, talk, and function. So there's going to be a period of time of schooling so that we don't screw something up.
Well, what do you mean?
Having the powers of Superman suddenly dropped in your lap. You know, what are the possibilities of messing something up or causing problems? And that's the sort of idea that people need to get their head around. As I understand it, most of what we are familiar with can also be in the same realms as us. In other words, supposedly I'll still be able to stand on the front porch. It'll just be a different dimensional reference. So, you know, I'm looking forward. Supposedly the animals will be able to talk to us, and I've been looking forward to that for a while. So, you know, I can say hey to my deer, and it can say, you just ugly, you know, or whatever, and go from there.
But okay, I guess I'm still confused because I guess that would give them less control over everybody is what I'm thinking.
Well, not exactly. They will have absolute control. This is to prevent you from harming yourself or others. Do no harm is one of the edicts of the universe. That includes everything. People don't understand that concrete is a living entity. They don't understand that the wood in your house, the walls, things of this nature, your cars, everything at one point or another was a living entity. And being nice to those things, in other words, if you could create a bush, what kind of personality would you give it, you know? If you
One that would bear fruit.
Well, if you saw something that seemed to be wrong, do you have enough information to make that call, that judgment? And you have to remember, you're going to have the power to uncreate. I've done this a couple of times with different things, and it's really extraordinary in terms of an exercise of understanding. But at the same time, if somebody does something that pisses you off, you're going to uncreate them. And it could be an accident because you are not aware of the powers you have. Now you understand the idea of having to go back to grade school. You got to be able to learn how to play nice with the other children. You have to be able to know, because of the lack of knowledge you have, that you should make sure to, in some ways, limit yourself. This is the self-controlling factor of freedom, of true light. In astral physics, you'll find telekinesis. I've actually moved the planet a couple of times just practicing. I didn't know I had that much capability. That's what I was trying to do, but I didn't think I could do it. But it happened, and I went, ooh, uh-oh, I hope I didn't mess something up. And this little voice comes back and says, don't worry about it. And I go, huh? So the communications and all that is there. The capability is in your DNA. The veil of forgetfulness, the portion which fogs your capability of functionality at the level you're supposed to be, will be slowly, okay, not suddenly, but slowly relieved. In other words, you'll become more awake and aware, and as you do, you'll also become more understanding of what your capabilities are. You look at a flower and you go, wow, that's beautiful, and it blooms even bigger. That sort of reaction. Knowing that the guarding of your very thoughts becomes critical to the conditions around you and your condition. The fact that you don't have to be disagreeable with anything or anybody anymore is a great form of freedom, but along with that, if you have extraordinary capabilities, you have to learn what those are, how they work, what the limitations are, how not to give somebody a dirty look and kill them. I mean, you know, it just goes on and on and on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, another question. Opposite end of that. Just if our Constitution was so hijacked, how come we can't legally bring that to terms?
That's been being tried.
I guess I don't understand that. I don't understand.
Okay, well, there's two sets of things. One is the parameters of governance or self-control. This is where you get into things called common law and the golden rule and things of that nature. The belief systems were designed primarily as a control mechanism so people didn't lose it. They were also designed as a political and monetary control by the varying entities, churches, whatever you want to call them. So you've got a two-way street. In terms of common law, you're looking at a constitution. This gives you a standard by which to conduct yourself. The second part of it is the financial. And this is where you come into the problem of the love of money being the root of all evil. That's where the problem lies. If you make that system transparent and fully honest, then all the crooks are gone. They don't have a choice.
Can I interject here to maybe clarify a little bit?
Go for it. I don't care.
Okay. This overthrow of the Constitution has been taking place ever since the Civil War. And in 1933, when this country went bankrupt, that's when the New Deal was brought forth. And if you look at the Declaration of Independence, it says that governments are instituted by the consent of the governed, and that's what happened. The New Deal gave us a new form of government, and the American people were so desperate they consented to that new form, and we've been living under that form ever since.
Did they know what they were consenting to?
No.
No, well, then it's null and void. That's the point.
All the problems started after the Civil War. First declaration of bankruptcy was the acquiescence to the Rothschild banking system that we owed the money to for the Civil War. And that's when our first bankruptcy was. It was reaffirmed in, 1867, and it was reaffirmed in 1868 officially. Then the next one was in 1890. This was a secret confirmation. Then the 1926 Depression. They borrowed their way out of that, and when they did, they created the 1930 or 1929 stock market crash, which really did a number on us. We reaffirmed in 1932. The following one was in 1941, and the one after that was in 1976.
But all illegally done, no?
Well, when you owe money, you owe money. It would have been better. It would have been better if we had not accepted the premise that was stated that we owed X when we really didn't.
But we didn't do that. That's the whole point of all of this. Is
well,
we got
we
sucked
did.
into their deals.
Well, the problem is that there's two problems. One is that the Constitution was not presented to the people for approval. So you got a problem basically there. The history of the Constitution.
I mean, when you talk to the courts, you have to speak their language. And why not just make them answer that point? That one point.
Well, you can. You have to use the UCC to do so. Which is an international law that governs all nations who were bankrupted by either the Rothschilds or Rockefellers.
It seems to me that there's so much. We don't need any more evidence. It seems to me the more evidence we gather, the more confusing it gets. There's too much information out there now. There's too many ways to go. People are confused. They don't know what to do.
Exactly.
And
that was one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons for the project we had that was called the Nation States Project, where small groups of citizens made a declaration through notification to the international court that we were no longer a party to the corporate government or governance that we'd been putting up with for however many hundreds of years. That gave us our freedom, but now we have to take out those people who don't think so, which is all the bad guys. So you have two forms of that. One is corporate control, and the other is finance.
I don't want to be under their corporate control anymore.
It's coming.
Do what now?
I don't want to be under their corporate control anymore, so how do I get out from under that?
Form a citizens group and start hollering, making phone calls, and sending out emails. Do a radio show. The louder the voice, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The louder the voice, the more attention's paid.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm doing this. One of the reasons I'm doing this show. Not for me, it's for my kids and my grandkids.
The Thomas Jefferson Institute, talks about how the Constitution was hijacked, and the 100 things that our government has done that the Founding Fathers said would prevent everything that's gone wrong. And the 100 things they've done is what causes all of this. I just don't understand.
Well, we allowed the people that were not aware. And if you don't know something...
well, maybe we did in a sense because we're asleep, but is that because of what they put in our food or what they teach us?
You got to remember something. And this goes back to the Babylonian prophecies. And one of the statements that's in the Bible, our present King James Version, is a simple statement. It's Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. In other words, if you knew how to implement and use the principles contained within that book, just as they're written now, if you can understand how to discern a principle and you apply it and you understand what the impacts of it are, then you can set not only yourself but everyone around you free of the constraints imposed by other men and governments, etc. But the problem we've got right now is that we are having the battle for between good and evil, primarily.
Exactly.
And the problem with that is that this evil has well entrenched itself and can cause extraordinary damage. Okay, and one of the prime directives is to cause no harm. So therefore, this has to be as harmless as possible. This is why.
But like you said before, they gave us no choice.
And then go shoot somebody. That's not what this is about. But on the 27th, we'll find out.
We don't want to shoot anybody.
Right.
Exactly.
Thank you so very much. But we're in overtime here, and we've got people that have been waiting for 2 hours. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Drake. God bless, and
welcome.
We're still working.
Okay. Join us on the Global Voice, or go to Drake's
I'm
page.
there all the time. I read all of your information, Drake. I've gotten such a history lesson, but it's stuff that I've always known, and I found you to help me voice it.
Thank you, Cindy. God bless, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.
A great week.
Thanks.
Okay, let's see. We had one more caller.
They still there?
Peter from Nebraska.
Yes.
Hello, Peter.
This is hi. I'll just make it short. I'll just say hi for everybody. But anyway, my point is with our current administration and the possibility. Well, I mean, I guess I haven't been proved one way or the other if his birth certificate is true or not, but I hope it isn't. And if that was proved, and wouldn't the vice president also be null and void too, because it was ran as a ticket when they were elected, and with the principal, the president, not being eligible, that make that whole ticket null and void?
No. The only part that makes null and void is the individual office holder.
I see. The other question would be is that once that would be proven, that any document that our current president has signed would become null and void at that point, correct?
Yes, exactly. And any of the other actions he's taken. I'm going to switch this phone off.
Okay, very good.
Now I'm back on.
Is that it? Okay.
That was pretty much it. I was pretty sure that anything that he had done while he was in office would be null and void, which would kind of be like waking up from a bad dream, in my opinion. But anyway, at that, I'll let you guys go, and thank you for everything you're doing for us.
You're welcome.
Okay, Catherine, you are on the line, and Catherine had a question about what we discussed earlier.
Thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
And I am amazed how accurate your scriptures are, especially when you quote the original language. That is incredible. That's what, to me, verifies to a lot of Christians that don't understand a lot of this, you validate. Thank you so much for that. And I have a question. You mentioned someplace we could go where we could print out the, I don't know how to say this, thing about controlling our food. Is there, where is that under agriculture? I don't know where to go, so I'm going to hang up and then you can say it on the phone.
Well, what you need to do is go to the FDA website and it'll explain all of the...
I haven't got my hands free where I can type. Can I put this on back on speakerphone so I can type while you say it?
Sure, go ahead.
Hold on one second. And thank you. We pray for you night and day. This is fantastic how you have stepped out. And it's amazing because, you know, they say when you get to heaven, God has written scripture, has written history the way it was really meant to be. And you're going to love reading it and your part in it. So I'm going to hang up. Hold on.
Drake, wouldn't Codex Alimentarius be a good source for that, too?
Can't hear you.
Yes, it would, but I would go to the FDA website because they actually have a listing of the regulations and what they actually are required to follow. And, I mean, there's a load of them. You're talking about, I don't know, I'd say 2 or 3 dictionaries worth.
Number?
And that's just the FDA. You get into other things, and it gets worse.
Yeah. Drake, we have one last call.
Okay.
She's a wife of an active duty military, and she got disconnected on our last program. and she prefers to remain anonymous, but we have her on with us.
That's cool. Put her on.
Hey, Drake.
Hey.
I'm so excited to talk to you and to everyone else as well. So I've been following you. My mom and I actually both have been following you for, I think, since the beginning of the year, and maybe even before that. My mom, I don't know. I appreciate everything that you're doing, and I've been wondering, and I haven't really had the guts to call until recently. It's interesting because my husband is about to be deployed. He's active duty Marine. He's not necessarily too into this stuff, so I've delayed my ride home from work a lot longer than I should have, but I wanted to make sure I asked you. He's about to be deployed, and there seems to be a lot of confusion with what's going on with that deployment and the dates that it's all happening, and it coincides exactly with the green lights that you're talking about. He was given a window within like less than a week that he was leaving, and then it was held off, and it's not actually part of Operation Enduring Freedom either, which is the interesting portion of it. And then, so it's kind of a two-part. If you think that, I mean, it's obviously very vague, but if you think that had anything to do with it, and then also, when the financial green light component happens, what I could expect to see or experience here on a military base, because I always hear you talking, get to know your neighbors, talk to your neighbors, and so on and so forth. I live on a military base. So I'm just kind of curious to hear your input for the active duty side. And it's funny, my husband's open to it, but he kind of gets a little upset when I talk about things like sharing, say, Bill Wood's story, Bill Brockbader, talking about your past and whatnot. He gets a little upset about it, but he is at the same time a little bit open. So I'm just kind of curious to hear your input on that.
Okay, well, I'll make two suggestions. Go to my website. That's AmericanNationalMilitia.com.
I go to it daily.
Well, there should be an archive section on there that deals with...
I know, addressed to the military. I've tried to get him into it, but I listen to it just for my own information. And I
would suggest that you play it for your husband, too.
I tried. He was kind of... I'm sorry?
As far as being on a military base and talking to other people, there's a combination. First of all, I don't know of a military person alive who would engage another military person's family.
Right.
Okay. The idea of operating in a constitutional manner alleviates all of the bad reputation that's been heaped on the military.
Exactly.
Okay, so what we are attempting to do is work in combination and conjunction and close quarters with the military in such a manner that they can take care of the logistics that the few of us cannot address in such a manner that there's little chaos, that there would be relatively no violence, and a very, very smooth transition from what we have now to what it should have been according to the Founding Fathers' ideologies. Now, the talking to other people is a little iffy, and that's why I suggest that you might want to make sure that that addressment to the military becomes common knowledge among whomever it is you're talking to. This will show a combination of intent and purpose to what not only what we're doing, but the fact that we are working in close conjunction with the military. Now they're a little bit pissed at me, and the reason they are is that I kind of preempted them on a couple of things, a couple of different times, but I also expressed to them that they needed to be in closer contact with me so that I didn't cause problems by accident. So I'm kind of waiting on some of the things that are supposed to come out of this. Now, as I said, they're sitting back just a little bit. They're holding back some. They're in the process of cleaning or clearing their ranks so that they have people that are able to be trusted with the responsibilities. So the addressment to the military, one of the requests I made was that each of the active duty people, along with their families, run it up the flagpole.
Right.
In terms of who is with who and how do you feel about this and et cetera. So,
I've tried, and I think the whole mentality of, especially with that gentleman who was like renouncing President Obama in the Marine Corps a while back and saying, I will not follow his orders, I think that's also created a little bit of a stigma for anyone to go against their quote-unquote commander-in-chief. As much as I, as an aware family member and spouse living the military lifestyle, I think that that's part of that notion that it's taboo to go against the commander-in-chief. My husband's a military lifer. Like, he loves our country. He loves, but it's hard to break through his the training and the quote-unquote brainwashing, if you will, that they received from day one about going and speaking ill will against your country, speaking ill against your country and your commander-in-chief, so on and so forth, especially what's transpired as of late. So I do my best, and I play it. I put you on speakerphone if I'm calling from a phone, or I put the radio show on as loud as I can when he's around, but he just kind of smiles and nods, and unfortunately, he doesn't really get too into it because he has a little bit of a short temper and he gets upset easily by things if they rub him the wrong way. But I won't stop trying, and I never stop giving him updates about what's going on. And so I listened to that military update I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, just trying to absorb as much as I possibly could.
Well, the best alternative to having disagreements, okay, of this nature, you have to remember that when command decides not to listen to their commander-in-chief, he's dead in the water as far as they're concerned. And what they are going to do is take a comprehensive look at the reality of things rather than some kind of political horse hockey that might come tumbling out of somebody's pie hole. And so the simplest way I know to get around that is to simply ask which would you rather have, somebody who's qualified for command or a politician in charge. That usually sets things up real nicely. And the other part of it is that the idea to be all you can be encompasses being what you should be. The field manual covers this. You have a chain of command, yes. However, most of the people above battalion level are iffy.
You said corporal,
that's the problem. Okay?
You said corporal, or a corporal, or you said nobody above a corporal, correct?
No, colonel.
Colonel, okay.
In other words, you're talking battalion command level, and those above that. Some of the battalion commanders are iffy. There's not very many of those. They're more attuned to the troops, the people on the ground, and they take care of their people. Those above them, you become a number. You become less of an and personal entity. So they can then go into the philosophy of things, and that's where the problems start, because that ends up in politics. And it's like the heartbreak that everybody felt when Kissinger gave away Vietnam. How about Crafton he did that? I'm surprised he's still alive.
Drake, we have a request. Drake, we have a request for this caller.
Okay.
Are you a member of our Facebook group?
Yes, I am. I don't know.
The caller.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I don't think so, and quite frankly, like I feel like I'm actually making myself a little bit nervous even calling in, but I just don't want to do anything, and I know they're capable of tapping into anything and anywhere they want to, so I've kind of tried to limit myself socially, social media-ly, if you will, in that respect.
Okay. All right. Well, we just have a request that we would like our researcher that's looking at a lot of stuff would like to get a hold of you. So if you feel comfortable to come forward, you can always email us at onefreepeople@gmail.com.
If Denise can, after I hang up, if Denise would be cool with getting my email, I can give you guys that. I don't mind.
I'll be happy to do that, honey.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's all we want. I'm here.
Denise, dear?
Yes.
It's 10:40. Do you have many more callers? Because we need to write this up because I have to go.
No, Lady Dragon, that was it. She was our last caller. And in honor of her and her husband, I was going to play a closing song. And it is a song by Trace Adkins. I don't know if I've played it before. It's called Till the Last Shot's Fired. And it is a song that was for the Wounded Warrior Project. And they remind everybody before Trace sings it, it's not about the war, it's about the warrior. And so I was going to close by playing that song.
Excellent choice of song, Denise, by the way.
Okay, Denise, before you play that, I just want to remind everyone that tomorrow at 8 Eastern on the Global Voice Radio Network that we're going to be having Alfred Weber on to discuss this lawsuit going in against the Vatican. And I just had a motorcycle go by. But, so we just want to remind everyone.
Yes,
8 p.m.
Yeah, and I will be talking with Jason tonight, so people can go to ladydragon.com, and I will have the latest news from Jason tonight.
Okay, great. Okay.
Thank you, Denise and Paul.
Thank you, and thank you, Drake, and thank you, Lady Dragon. It's been a wonderful evening, and we'll see you again on Sunday. And you can stay on and listen to the song if you have time.
Okay.
It's a great song.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.